Good morning, everyone. I'm Paul Smedberg, first Vice Chair of the WMATA Board. Chair Santos isn't able to be here today, so alternate Director Worth is filling in for her, and I'll be running this meeting along with the Executive Committee and the board meetings. So welcome, Spring. Thank you for being here today at our special Board of Directors meeting. Before we begin, I'd like to turn the floor over to our Chief Safety and Readiness Officer, Jamie Johnson, for today's safety contact. Jamie.
Thank you, Chair Smedberg and members of the board. As the capital of the United States, world events are often felt directly and indirectly across the Washington National Capital Region. We ask that all our customers remain vigilant during this period of continued heightened international tension. See something, say something is a constructive and useful reminder to guide everyone. By following this simple guidance, we can help keep customers and employees alike safe. What we're asking is for everybody to report anything suspicious to the Metro Transit Police Department. MTPD, as we call them, is a dedicated force solely responsible for the customers and staff security. Covers Metro Bus, Metro Rail, Metro Access, and our facilities. Metro Transit Police Department urges us all to remain vigilant at all times. And simply put, if you observe or experience anything unusual, out of place, suspicious, or concerning, don't hesitate to contact the MTPD by calling 202-962-2121 or by calling 911. You can also text my MTPD at 696-873. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Since this is our first public meeting of the day, I'll ask our Board Corporate Secretary, Jennifer Ellison, to call the roll. But before I do that, I'd like to note that we're joined by our new principal board member from Maryland, Debbie Jarvis, who was officially sworn in earlier this week and will be publicly sworn in today. I'd also like to note we're welcoming Mr. Alcorn for his first meeting as principal director, and we'll be swearing him in his new role at this meeting as well. Finally, we're also joined today by Arlington County Board member and newly appointed alternate director, Matt DeFerrante, who will also be sworn in today. Now, Ms. Ellison, please call the roll.
Alternate Director Worth.
Present.
Vice Chair Smedberg.
Present.
Vice Chair McAndrew.
Here.
Director Klein.
Present.
Director Hadenlow.
Present.
Director Alcorn.
Present.
Director Jarvis.
Present.
Director Martin Proctor.
Good morning.
Mr. Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to request approval of the agenda. Are there any objections to the agenda as amended?
Sorry, it's presented.
Well, as presented. Hearing and seeing none, the agenda is approved. Now we'll move on to the swearing in of the new board members. But before we swear them in, I'd like to tell you a little bit about each of them. We'll begin with Ms. Jarvis. Debbie, thank you for being here today and congratulations on your appointment. Debbie joins us after an extensive career in corporate communications and media and community relations. She most recently served as Vice President and Chief Communications Officer at Alta Gas. Prior to that, she was the Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Howard University, where she led the creation of impactful partnerships with industry leaders, including Marriott and Bristol-Myers Squibb, to drive community impact and strategic partnerships. Debbie also served in several roles, including as Vice President for Corporate Relations and Vice President for Corporate Citizenship and Social Responsibility at PEPCO and its parent company, Echelon. She created and led the formation of PEPCO's Corporate Citizenship and Social Responsibility Department, which enhanced the organization's reputation while also positively impacting the communities it served. Lastly, you may recognize her from her decade-long career as an anchor and general assignment reporter at NBC4 here in Washington. We're excited to have you be joining the board and share that extensive experience and knowledge of community outreach, community relations, and corporate citizenship. Welcome. Now a little bit about Mr. Alcorn. Walter has served as an alternate director on the Metro Board since January 2020 and was appointed as a principal director representing Fairfax County last month. He is in his second term representing the Hunter Mill District on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. His focus is on transit-oriented development in Reston and the western parts of Fairfax, or western parts of Tysons. Pedestrian and bicycle mobility, safety, affordable housing, and diversifying the local economy. And now, of course, Metro. Walter has a wealth of experience to serving on boards and commissions in addition to Metro and the Board of Supervisors. Walter serves on the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission and served on the Fairfax County Planning Commission for 16 years, as well as the Fairfax County Park Authority Board. We look forward to having Walter share his experience and insights in this new role. And last, is Matt here? Matt's here. There he is. Okay. Welcome, Matt. We're welcoming Matt DeFronte to the board as an alternate director representing Arlington County. And Matt, why don't you go ahead and stand so people can see you? Yep. Matt is a member of the Arlington County Board and currently serves as its vice chair. He was elected to the county board in 2018 and served as its chair in 2021. He is also a member of the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission and served as NVTC's chair in 2024. Prior to joining the county board, Matt served Arlington County on its Housing Commission beginning in 2013 and the Arlington County Schools Budget Advisory Council, including serving as its chair in 2017 from 2017 through 2018. Matt's career has been dedicated to helping people build better lives for themselves and their communities, first as a teacher in a low-income community in Houston, Texas, as an attorney working on land use and economic development for local governments, and as an advocate for economic and educational equity at a number of preeminent nonprofit organizations. Welcome, Matt. Your experience on NVTC and in the community are certainly going to be an asset to this board. And now I'll ask each of you to join me up front so we can swear you in. Yep. We're going to do one at a time. Yep. Debbie? Got to make it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Let's start here. So if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Debbie Jarvis,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Maryland,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Maryland,
from which I was appointed as a principal director
from which I was appointed as a principal director
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am to enter.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Just briefly, I really am looking forward to being a part of this wonderful organization as a director. Community has been a part of where I stand since arriving here in the DMV over 30 years ago. I look forward to bringing all of my expertise, my talents, treasure to this organization, and I am truly honored to be a part. And I thank you all.
And now we'll swear in Walter. Yeah. So I
Walter Alcorn,
do hereby solemnly swear.
do hereby, oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
supposed
you're
to do
supposed to
this.
raise your right hand. Yeah, you've done this before a
You're
few
right,
times.
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I, Walter Alcorn, do hereby solemnly swear
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
from which I was appointed as a principal director
from which I was appointed as a principal director
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am to enter.
upon which I am to enter.
Thank you, Walter, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. And I sort of have been through, I consider, a 4 or 5 year apprenticeship as an alternate director. So Matt, you will experience this as well. It's been a great opportunity to learn about the organization, and now as principal director, look forward to contributing that way. And Debbie, you said it well, it's really all about community. I share that view as well. So thank you.
Let me make sure I get the right one. Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna.
Sure.
Okay. I
Matt DeFerranti,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
from which I was appointed as an alternate director
from which I was appointed as an alternate director
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
of the Board of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am to enter.
upon which I am to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I am particularly mindful of Walter's point that I'm an alternate, so brevity is the key, but I am excited to serve, and almost everybody in the room will know anybody can be great because anybody can serve. That's how I hope to contribute.
Well, we really do welcome the 3 new members, and you can see the diversity and the experience all bring to the table different skills and skill sets and experiences, and that's what makes this work important. So anyway, next we will move on. We have our new members, so they've been sworn in, and I'd like to move the following revisions to the board committee assignments. Director McAndrew as chair of the Finance and Capital Committee, Director Haddon Lowe as Vice Chair of the Finance and Capital Committee. Well, me, to the, yeah, as the Finance, to the Finance and Capital Committee, Mr. Alcorn as Chair of the Safety and Operations Committee, Ms. Santos, Chair Santos as the Vice Chair of the Safety and Operations Committee, and Ms. Jarvis to the Safety and Operations Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Lowe. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Ellison, please call the roll.
Alternate Director Worth,
Aye.
Vice Chair Smedberg,
Aye.
Vice Chair McAndrew,
Aye.
Director Klein,
Aye.
Director Haddon Lowe. Aye. Director Alcorn,
Aye.
Director Jarvis,
Aye.
Director Martin Proctor.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. With no further business for the special board meeting, we will stand adjourned and we'll move right into the executive committee meeting. Welcome. Given that this is our first order of business to approve the agenda, we have today's agenda in front of us for approval. Are there any objections by members of the committee to the agenda? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. The agenda is approved. Now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. We have minutes from our last public meeting of April 10th and from our executive sessions of April 10th, April 24th, June 12th, and June 26th. Are there any objections or comments to any of those sets of minutes? Hearing and seeing none, we'll consider the minutes approved as presented. We have two updates on today's agenda. First, we'll receive a report on how Metro is meeting its targets related to the talented teams goal in the strategic transformation plan. Next, we'll receive an update on plans to modernize outdated processes and systems to work more effectively and efficiently, including through the introduction of artificial intelligence or AI. Now I'll turn the floor over to Ms. Dickerson and Ms. Holt to begin their presentation.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Sherry.
I'm Sherry Dickerson, Chief People Officer, and I'm joined by Jordan Holt. Today, I'm pleased to share our mid-year update on the Talented Team strategic goal, one of the 4 pillars of Your Metro, the Way Forward. This report reflects not only our progress, but also the voices of our employees and the actions we're taking to build a stronger, more resilient workforce. Today's story is one of progress, momentum, and opportunity as we continue building a workplace where people thrive. This report covers almost the entirety of fiscal year 2025 and includes the results of our most recent employee survey conducted at the end of May. Talented Teams is one of the 4 pillars of Your Metro, the Way Forward. It's about more than hiring. It's about creating a culture where people feel valued, supported, and proud of their work. Alongside service excellence, regional opportunity, and financial stewardship, this goal is foundational to our long-term success. Today, we'll focus on 3 objectives: recruitment and retention, engagement and recognition, and professional development. And now I'll turn it over to Jordan to walk you through our scorecard.
Good morning. So we have 11 key performance metrics aligned to this goal. And you see here kind of the results since fiscal year 22. Most of these metrics are drawn from our annual employee survey. And each year we set ambitious yet achievable targets that move us towards those even more ambitious targets laid out in our strategic transformation plan. You'll notice the blue dots on the scorecard are where we've met our fiscal year 25 targets, and the orange dots are where we fell short. For the survey-based metrics, what the percent you're seeing here is the percent that agreed with statements. And you see that there's a light orange dot, and the target was to improve, because what we're aiming for is a statistically significant improvement over our last survey results. And in this case, that's about a 3-point improvement. So you see here, in most cases, it's very similar to where we were last year. So we didn't have that 3-point improvement, but we don't have a dark orange dot because we don't actually have a 3-point decrease. So it's light orange because it's statistically the same. We are seeing some trends that we'll delve into a bit more as we go through the presentation. We did see some small improvements in staff perception of Metro as a great place to work. Our voluntary turnover does remain low and outperformed our target. When we look compared to where we were in fiscal year 22, there are some areas where we have seen some significant improvements, including learning, empowerment, and recognition. And while time to hire, it's taken us a while to recover from the hiring freeze that was at the latter end of last fiscal year, has been showing some signs of improvement, and we'll delve into that a bit more. As we go through this, we'll be highlighting actions that we're taking in response to the feedback that we've received from our employees and the results that we're getting. So employee engagement is the goal level measure for talented teams. And it was positive in 2025 with a small increase from last year. And so the way we measure engagement is kind of an industry standard, and it's on a 10-point scale from 0 to 10, responding to the question, how likely are you to recommend Metro as a place to work to your friends and family? We then calculate the share of responders that are promoters. Those are people who answered 9 or 10. Neutral, if you answer 7 or 8. And detractor, if you answered 0 to 6. And the score of 2 is the percent of promoters, 34%, minus the percent of detractors, 32%. So that's how you get the 2. The scale for this measure is actually minus 100 to 100. So 100% of your staff are promoters. Minus 100, 100% of your staff are detractors. So 2 is in the middle, it's positive. When we look, I said this is a common measure across multiple industries and multiple employee surveys. And when you look nationally, some of the best performers are around 14. The top 3 drivers of engagement remain consistent. There are opportunities for career advancement, manageable stress levels, and work-life balance. These themes were echoed across the 2,500 open-ended responses we got to this survey, as well as we held 10 employee town halls this spring and see consistent themes there as well. The most frequently cited recommendation was continuing to offer flexible work options and recognizing that leadership made a significant change. Instead of requiring all desk-based staff to return to the office 5 days a week starting July 1st, we're maintaining a 4-day in-office, 1-day remote schedule for eligible roles. We're also exploring alternative work arrangements where appropriate. Pulled out some quotes from our 2,500 open-ended responses, and as one employee put it, Metro has exponential space for growth and opportunities. And that's the culture we're committed to nurturing.
Our people are Metro's greatest asset, and ensuring we have the right talent in place is essential to delivering safe, reliable service every day. Over the past year, we've made strong progress in reducing our vacancy rate, which had spiked during the hiring freeze from February to June of 2024. Since then, we've welcomed over 1,000 new employees, and our vacancy rate continues to trend downward. We're especially proud of the progress in our frontline workforce. Vacancy rates are lowest among Local 689 and Local 922 employees. That's our bus operators, train operators, and maintenance teams, who are critical to our daily service delivery. Human capital is working closely with hiring managers to expand outreach for high demand roles like bus mechanics and police officers. For non-represented and Local 2 roles, we've hosted targeted hiring events focused on hard to fill positions. These events, combined with our updated telework policy, are helping us attract top talent by offering flexibility and a strong employee value proposition. We're also building strategic partnerships with institutions like Lincoln Tech and Prince George's Community College to create pipelines for skilled talent. These efforts are helping us rebuild capacity where it is needed most, and they are resonating with candidates. The top reasons for new hires who choose Metro include career advancement, competitive benefits, and the opportunity to serve their community. We're proud of the momentum we've built, and we're committed to sustaining it as we continue to grow a workforce that reflects the excellence of the region we serve. Our special hiring events in April and May were a game changer. We cut time to hire to as low as 20 days for critical roles. These events allowed us to complete interviews, make conditional offers, and streamline approvals, all in one day. By streamlining interviews, pre-approving compensation, and fast-tracking EEO concurrence, we've shown what's possible when we remove friction from the process. These events are a model for future recruitment. Retention remains strong. Voluntary turnover continues to outperform targets, and 80% of staff say they see themselves at Metro in a year. At the 2025 Metro Awards, we honored 11 employees with over 45 years of service, our giants, who together represent more than 500 years of dedication. This is proof that our mission inspires long-term commitment. But we all know culture transformation takes time. But we're seeing clear signs of progress. Since 2022, we've made meaningful gains in 3 areas: professional development, recognition, and empowerment. Over 500 employees have been promoted or moved into new roles this year. When we include new hires, nearly 1,600 employees, more than 10% of our workforce, are in new positions. That's a powerful indicator of growth and mobility within Metro. Survey results show a 9-point increase in employees who feel recognized for their contribution, and a 4-point increase in those who feel empowered to make decisions. These are small but important steps forward, and they reflect the impact of our ongoing investments. We've revamped our leadership development programs, including our High Potential program and ENOMAX, which is an external program, and our recognition efforts through the Metro Awards program, and are developing performance-based bonus programs for the frontline supervisors. Empowerment, we know, varies by role. While 61% of non-represented employees report feeling empowered, that number is lower, around 37%, for Local 689 and 922 staff. We're taking a closer look at these differences also across departments. For example, Legal and Compliance reports empowerment levels as high as 65%, while teams focused on public messaging and customer interaction report closer to 30%. These insights are helping us tailor our approach, because building a culture of trust, recognition, and growth isn't one size fits all. It's about listening, responding, and creating conditions for every employee to succeed. While we've made meaningful progress in many areas, there are still opportunities for improvement, particularly in collaboration, process efficiency, and communication. These 3 areas have remained consistent across the last 4 survey cycles, signaling the need for sustained focus and tailored solutions. We know that the path forward varies depending on one's role in the organization. For example, feedback around process challenges most frequently referenced human capital and procurement. In response, we're continuing to invest in technology upgrades, including Metro Sync, to streamline our workflows and reduce friction. Duplication of effort, whether it's overlapping business functions or re-entering the same data across systems, was another common theme. Communication was often cited as the antidote. Employees emphasized the need for clearer roles, better coordination between departments, and more inclusive communication between leadership and frontline staff. To address this, we're implementing a series of standards to improve how we share information and collaborate. A standard template for project cut sheets has been rolled out to ensure alignment. Senior leadership teams are reinforcing and sharing information through senior management and senior leadership team meetings and the STP refresh. And we've even developed meeting agendas and now require notes with circulation required after each meeting. We're also piloting new tools through our digital modernization team, like Tech IQ and Metro Max Tech, which are projected to deliver up to 50% gains in administrative efficiencies and 20% in wrench time for frontline teams. Jed will share more on that progress shortly. Importantly, communication remains the most frequently mentioned word in open-ended survey responses. Employees want to feel informed, included, and heard. That's why we're not just measuring engagement, we're acting on it. And that concludes our presentation, and we welcome any questions. I'm sorry, I should have paused.
Thank you all. Yeah, sorry about that. Apologize. Are there any questions? Mr. Alcorn?
Yeah, just one quick question. On slide 5, one of the critical recruitment spotlighted jobs is police. Could you just talk a little bit more about what we're doing to recruit more police officers?
So we are partnering with our colleagues in police to determine what some of the challenges are in our recruitment process. It's an extended process. Human capital has a limited engagement within the police recruitment process. Much of the fallout happens on the back end when there are interviews with the candidates as well as going through the background check. And so those are the things that we're trying to work on to see how we can recruit candidates that are going to make it through the whole process. And I will say the last class that we had was probably one of the larger classes that they've had over the last few years. And so I'm encouraged to think that we are on the right path.
Good. No, thank you. And this is clearly a regional problem and a national problem in terms of recruitment. So thank you.
Mr. Clark.
Yeah, if I can just add, so big important thing for us is to continue to build the police ranks. We're finally, in the last year now, we're retaining more than we were losing. And that was a big challenge, again, as you mentioned, not just here, all over the country. A couple things are really important. Working with Sherry's team, we increased the recruitment bonus for people that can go into the academy to match a lot of our regional partners. We were a little lower. The second is having our own academy. That's a big deal, having our own academy. Now the goal is to run 3 classes a year instead of being contained to 2. We have 14, I think it is, in the current class. Last class, I think, was 23 or 24, which is a pretty large academy for us. We reduced training by almost 6 or 7 weeks by streamlining it through this academy process and working across Virginia, Maryland, and DC partners. The biggest challenge we have is that we have to certify an officer in all 3 states, and then they're ripe for we'll call it poaching by all of our regional partners because every department can go after them. But I think the chief's leadership working with Sherry has been really good. We also corrected, we had significant pay challenge between sergeants, lieutenants, and captains as well, and we rectified that. We believe that will help with some retention and encourage more people to move forward in the official ranks as well. So big focus. We'd love to be able to get 30 or 40, increase the department by 30 or 40. That was slowly weighing off some of our special police officer assistants as well that we've been using.
Ms. Klein.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. You know, culture change takes time, so it doesn't trouble me necessarily to see that there's not rapid progress on some of these things. It does take time. We've got a very large organization. But obviously we all want to see progress continue. And I do appreciate some of the metrics moving in the right direction. I'm curious, a lot of the presentations we've had on our performance metrics include benchmarking with our peers. I don't know if is that relevant in this context? Does it make sense to look at how peer transit agencies, I don't even know if they are doing these types of surveys, but I'm curious what learning we can take from our peers in this.
Yes. So we are, part of two formal benchmarking groups, and one of them, the one focused on rail, actually just this past year did a benchmarking study on employee engagement surveys. And so most peers do conduct an annual employee survey. Some do it every 2 years. And reading through it, we are pretty similar to where everyone else stands. The things that kind of bubble up to the top, where perhaps we haven't seen a lot of movement, the communication and collaboration, process efficiency, those are things that others are also addressing and that also have challenges. Some of our peers also compare themselves to the broader transportation industry, so that's something we can look at, as well as, or kind of more locally, the business community in their area.
Thank you.
Ms. Dickerson, I had a question about the amount of time to hire. That was the one red dot we had. You've had 2 experiences now with, these hiring fairs. You've talked about things you've learned. I mean, it's a fairly significant drop. And in today's competitive market and with needing people with different skill sets and everything than typically we've had in the past for some jobs. What can you do right away to really drop that? It seems like there's some things you can do almost immediately to really drop that 120 or 118 days or whatever it is.
Yes, and so I think one of the things that we're doing with my team is making sure that we have service level agreements that are set with all of our departments so that there's clear understanding of how long we have to get certain things done and how long they have to accomplish their tasks as well. So a lot of the areas where we saw significant gains were around the fact that we were making time to do interviews all in one day. And that tends to be a struggle. Trying to get them set up in people's calendar, obviously, is a challenge. And so for individuals to be able to dedicate a full day to do 5 or 6 interviews, it can be a challenge, but it's worth the time and investment if we want to move swiftly. Also, pre-approving compensation was helpful. The ones that, those hires that took longer, it really was about the back and forth around compensation and people having, wanting to negotiate their salaries. So I think if we can just make sure that we have clear expectations with our partners, then we can make significant changes.
Yeah, but what about the EEO concurrence process? I mean, that we've talked about that in the past.
Yes.
I mean, what can be done there, and still stay within, a good process with all of that?
So a couple of things that are coming out of that, we're changing the concurrence process as it is now to one where there's sampling rather than 100%. Right now we do 100% concurrence. And so providing sampling of information versus doing the 100%. A lot of the work for that process really needs to be done up front to be effective. Otherwise, you're on the back end then having conversations with people about whether they had the right questions or if they had the right people on the panel, which, can maybe not be so helpful. And so just taking a closer look at some of those activities, as well as looking at what our panels look like when we build them.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Dr. Lowe.
I'm always struck by like the kind of the depth of the commitment here at Metro to performance management. And this presentation speaks to that in the HR domain. But I know that we have these metrics across all of the STP pillars. I am like still coming back from vacation and catching up on like a huge mountain of reading. So it's possible that I missed this somewhere. But are we going to compile some kind of mega document that reflects on the last 3-year STP and progress made on all these metrics?
Great question, Board Member. So we have the annual report of how we're executing to the STP. That was delivered in February. So next February, we would deliver it again.
Okay.
We could, I guess, to your point, one thing we could do as we go to approve a new STP, which, quite frankly, I think the STP is clearly working.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I
shouldn't it
don't think
just
we
be like
need-
a tweak?
Yeah, and I think maybe a report out in alignment with that about from start of STP to the, if you will, to the next mod of STP might be a nice way of summarizing the 3-year process. So we have done it on the annual cycle, but we could take that and just basically amalgamate or put them all together and show the full trend analysis, because Jordan and her team are doing a fantastic job on really driving performance. Another good example is to Acting Chair Smedberg's point. We actually have a meeting that's kind of focused on HR stat. We have service stat, we have bus stat, rail stat, access stat.
Exactly.
So every day in this organization, there's various levels doing through performance management, up and including monthly, where myself and the senior executive team will be going through things. So a good example on this is capacity of hiring. So now we're really trying to focus is, to Sherry's point, what's on the business unit end, what is on the HR end, how do we get more transparency, what levels can we squeeze more, transparency leads to higher level accountability. If we say we want to, let's just hypothetically could hire 100 a month, but we want to be 140, what is needed between technology and people to get that extra 40 in capacity? So we're getting, to me, this is just business maturation here.
It's putting the management in performance management.
And so that's kind of where we are focused. So why don't we take, I see Kimmy shaking her head over there, we'll take that as an action. So when we, towards the end of the year, close out the current STP with the new one and have a consolidated report.
Okay, so I mean, I'm willing to go back and look at the annual report again and see if it's kind of really getting at what I'm talking about, more like that 3-year reflection as opposed to like a 1-year reflection. But I wouldn't want to wait for it till the end of the year. Like I want to be thinking about that as we enter strategic planning.
Okay. Why don't, how about this? Would this be a fair comment that you take a look at the annual report? I think you'll see that there's more in there than we're currently discussing. And if that level is not to the depth, just let us know.
That's totally fine. I am completely willing to start by rereading that with an eye toward what's on my mind in the summer.
Okay. Jordan, Sherry, thank you so much. Now we'll have our digital modernization update. Mr. Nicholson. Good morning, Judd.
Good morning. Good morning, board members. Good morning, General Manager. It's my pleasure to update the board on the digital transformation that is occurring here at Metro. And I'm Judd Nicholson, the Chief Digital Officer. Oop. This briefing will provide you all an update on the progress that we've made over the last 2 years, provide a plan and a vision for where we are going, as well as walk you through how we plan to achieve it. I think the case for change is pretty clear. Metro is similar to a lot of large and complex transit properties, and in fact, very similar to large complex organizations across multiple domains. The data is locked away in siloed systems and not easily accessible, let alone available to provide useful insights to the business. Many operational functions rely on paper-based processes, and even in our case, critical operational functions still rely on paper or a manual process. Technical debt, Metro has technical debt. These are old and aging systems that are very complex with many customizations, making them difficult to manage and support. So we started this journey 2 years ago, really with it probably doesn't do credit to the year before, but since I arrived 2 years ago, really started the journey, and our priority has been to rebuild the foundation and the credibility of the department. Improve our service orientation, refocus the department that we exist, to partner and support with our stakeholders, and to begin launching really big efforts, modernization efforts like ERP and HASTIS and Maximo, our asset management system. We needed those foundational pieces in order to go to the next phase, which we will continue the modernization, focus on efficiencies, either cost efficiencies or productivity, but also leaning into accelerating how we deliver core services and capability to the enterprise. Just a few reflections on the accomplishments over the last 2 years. We've really leaned into technology challenges and partnered closely across Metro, even taking on things that we were told that we could not change, and like improving the prediction algorithm on rail. We took that on, and results were significant improvement in the accuracy of the real-time prediction on rail and providing better real-time information to customers. We also launched Enterprise Video, which is a key capability centralizing all of our video platforms for safety and efficiency in operation across Metro. We successfully deployed Metro Pulse and TapRide Go. These brought modern digital experiences to our customers and demonstrated the authority-wide collaboration and the ability to move fast. We launched ERP and developed a long-term network improvement strategy to address current bandwidth constraints, as well as prepare for future needs. And we completely reset the entire digital modernization organizational structure. This reset of the organizational structure was around defining core capabilities. Not only core capabilities, but also putting in place, as we just saw before, multiple metrics in order to measure how well we are serving the authority. We put in place clear roles and responsibilities. We focused on the basics, improving service delivery, and how we are partnering across Metro. We consolidated and found efficiencies that are articulated here, as well as actual cost savings that can be reinvested into modern platforms. We implemented a modern approach to technology purchasing and implemented many of those, particularly in our data center, where previously we were buying 3 sets of equipment. We can now buy 1, which is called a converged infrastructure. And as a department, and a department-wide focus on the integration of security in everything we do. We can look at the cyber exposure score, a numerical representation of the organization's overall cybersecurity risk, reflecting its vulnerability to cyber threats. It provides a quantifiable metric to assess the effectiveness of security practices. The industry goal, or the industry average, is 350 or 375. We've consistently beat 375 and currently at 219. What is our plan for the future, and what is our vision? Our plan is to put in motion the building blocks of a digital ecosystem. That ecosystem that support Metro with its technology needs today, and be a flexible and scalable ecosystem to support our needs in the future. The ecosystem has 4 building blocks. The foundation, like our data centers, our network, our security. The core systems, like ERP, asset management, our scheduling software. Our data, how do we manage and orchestrate data to make it usable and available? And finally, digital products. Ultimately, our goal is to put technology in the hands of our authority, get capability in their hands, and do it in a way that makes our jobs efficient and more productive. To get this ecosystem in place, we've developed a multi-year implementation plan. Just as we discussed earlier, the plan is to focus on building a modern technology stack for the authority, addressing foundational elements, as you can see on the bottom in yellow, and modernizing core systems and moving towards accelerating the delivery of digital products. The plan isn't meant to be a one and done. You can see the plan here extends into fiscal year 27 and into fiscal year 28. We are working hard to change culture and mindset at Metro on the technology side. We want to inculcate what I call the digital or the modernization virtual cycle. Not only continue to modernize systems, but create a positive feedback loop that reinforces continuous improvement. As Metro evolves, so should our technology. As part of the plan, we will also be working to integrate artificial intelligence. We see an enormous benefit of AI to Metro. We look at AI as an integrated capability in almost every project and not a standalone part or standalone single project. It is part of the roadmap that I just showed you, and we'll be looking at implementing AI in these 6 focus areas. AI is to help the staff with their productivity, reshape our workflows, and not just throw AI at the problem, and move the needle on key business problems. There is a lot on our plate, so how will we achieve it? We will realize the plan that we've laid out by rebuilding the proverbial plane, or in our case, retrofitting trains and buses while we operate them. We're adopting a 2-speed approach. It's a well-tested approach for large organizational transformations. Gartner calls it Mode 1 and Mode 2. McKinsey has a similar version. The 2 tracks, one focused on speed and agility, and the other focused on stability and core operations. The goal is to optimize and to innovate. To be fast and agile requires us to operate differently. Gone are the days of gathering requirements, synthesizing those requirements, then having users wait 18 months or more to see a product. We're moving forward with a new collaboration model and a much shorter iterative delivery cycle, putting viable products in the hands of our teams in 3 to 6 months, and then continue to iterate. We've already activated this new way of thinking. The video you're about to see is this new model in action. The focus of these workshops was to identify products in the areas of bus maintenance and facilities. We had over 75 participants. That included my team, a consultant to facilitate, planning and performance, because we're rigorously focused on metrics and improvement. But the majority were from frontline staff and supervisors. Play the video.
just meeting some of the people. I mean, also, yeah, it was great because people did listen. And you also hear it's like, you're not alone. Everybody else is having the same problem. You know what I mean? You're not in the war zone by yourself.
We all definitely do have an idea on what we need to improve. And the fact that we're actually here listening to one another and trying to put something in works to make our jobs better.
Let me introduce you to the game changer, Brad Crow. Facility flow. Parts on time. Catch it. Metro Management.
Metro site. Get ready to hear about Bus 360.
Metro Small Parts. Tech IT.
Bus Fleet Live.
I just want to say they were fantastic presentations. I'm so proud of you. I love that this is all employee led. We heard you, so we're excited. For facility, we are going to go with the Metro Max.
Project selected for bus team is Tech IT, so.
I really like the fact that people were looking at the different ways that we could interact with technology and solve a problem that's specific to us as an agency or as a department. And it was from the ground up. So we started with the problem and then working, okay, these are available technologies. How could you integrate them into solving whatever problem you have? Rather than, here's an app, how would you use it to solve whatever problem you have today?
For us, we have a lot of data at our fingertips. It's just not all brought together to be usable. And so I think through this workshop, we're going to hopefully be able to leverage our existing data and overlay it with innovation and new emerging tech to help all of us get our jobs done in a more efficient way.
Now that I know how it impacts them, I'm able to, try to have better solutions for them when they're coming to the storerooms and ask for it. And then the projects that we're putting together will be very beneficial for everybody, both the supply chain and the maintenance guys as well.
I've been dreaming about these solutions for the last 20 years, and now we can actually do it because the technology's there.
Again, this was the digital activation and the new way of thinking in action. It was our first foray in these workshops, and as you can see, employees excited about it, my team excited about it, and we've just done bus maintenance and facilities, and as you can see in the roadmap on the previous previous slides, we're just going to continue to iterate on that. And the goal here is to continue to develop products that impact and rigorously impact the business that we're doing. And this slide is a bit of an eye chart, but it is just meant, again, to demonstrate the process that you just saw in action, which is rigorously tracking return on investment, not just to employ technology for technology's sake, but really be driving these products to the front line and to put them in the hands of folks, whether that's increasing customer satisfaction, that's increasing work orders. Every single one of these products that were developed have key metrics around them on what they will bring to the table once they are deployed into the workforce. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's one of the ways we're, again, it's back to the two-speed approach. In closing, we spent the last 2 years setting the foundation for our digital transformation. We've reorganized our department to better serve a metro that's changing and one that can better partner with our stakeholders. And as we just demonstrated, we've set in motion a two-speed approach. And as a reminder, that's to stabilize the core, continue to do major system upgrades, stabilize the core, make data available, but also accelerate the delivery of technology to the workforce. There is a lot to do, and I'm sure there'll be some bumps along the way, but we've put in place our roadmap as our guide, and one that includes the needed technology building blocks as we move to a modern metro digital ecosystem. So I want to thank the board and the general manager for your support, and that concludes my briefing, and I welcome your questions and comments.
Thank you, Judd. Well, I think I can say on behalf of the board, what you've done with this office in a relatively short period of time with the complexity of this issue has truly been pretty remarkable. So thank you to you and your team for all you've done and really where you started and what you walked into. Really appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Does anyone, Mr. McAndrew?
I'll second what the chair said. When I started in 23, it was odd times for the tech and IT team, DM for short. But I think, we've come a long way since then. I'm thoroughly impressed, the role of kind of digital modernization and IT and tech transformation. You need to be a partner, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't own all the solutions, and you're ultimately trying to ideate and find solutions with your partners on the ground that are going to use them and use them effectively. And so I think that video was a great presentation of how to do it and do it well. So hats off to you and the team for that. One item I was trying to understand kind of the budget and the personnel and looking at our budget and understanding kind of where I was just going in terms of partnering, and some of this stuff might not line up in terms of your budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus somebody else's budget that
Correct.
you're piggybacking off of. It would be good to get, just a download after the fact, if you can answer this in terms of your team's budget, capital, and operating over, say the last 2 years and where you're going, so we can kind of understand and map it out with you. Because at the end of the day, success requires money. My other two questions is, so we've got 300 and some odd FTE. Those are all here on staff today. Are we augmenting with a sizable number of support staff as well? What does that look like? And then the only other one was, I appreciate the lean in that the entire team took with Tap Ride Go recently. You've probably had a healthy hand in that delivery and the continued delivery on the bus and on parking and then thereafter with our local partners.
Mm-hmm.
I know MTA is chomping at the bit to partner with you guys in terms of deploying that. It would be, the chair is also leading a discussion with DMV Moves and on regional fare integration. We had a healthy discussion as a board today. I'd love to get a sense of where we're going on digital fare modernization. What's the schedule look like for Tap Ride Go for the next wave, but also how your work and the team's collective work is going to move us forward at a rapid pace to deliver a 21st century solution that's cheaper, more nimble, and ultimately delivers, the best service to the region within fair media. Because I think, we do a great job on branding, but oftentimes when a rider comes to a bus or comes to a rail line, that transaction is actually the friction sometimes. And so it certainly is a friction point for locals in terms of partnering on the fare side. So I'd love to get a mapping on that because I think there's a huge opportunity for us as a WMATA board to continue to evolve our partnership with our locals. And I'm happy that DMV Moves is doing it, but I think we as a board have an opportunity to help lend a hand towards that as well. So there's a lot there to unpack, but maybe focus on the kind of budget and staffing, if you don't mind, for a few minutes.
Judd, I'm going to take the last one first. So really appreciate that comment. It's probably a little bit more in Tom's court than Judd's, but they're both connected to this. But we'll take that as we've obviously been doing the DMV Moves piece, but we'll think through how we can bring maybe even as early as September something, as a presentation of where we are and where we're trying to go, and really, quite frankly, the regional opportunities. So I appreciate you highlighting that. I've been saying this since I got here. We do not have an integrated fare policy. We don't have an integrated fare system. It is, in a lot of ways, low-hanging fruit to make our region way better from a transit network. Metro is ready to partner with people. Quite frankly, I think there's ways we can really drive down total cost across the entire region on this and provide much better customer use and help maybe grow even ridership on that as well. So we'll take that action. Obviously, we'll coordinate with COG because there's a DMV Moves connection to that too. But we can start showing people what the options kind of really exist around that, or I'll say opportunities, without Metro basically telling people what they have to do, but the opportunities if we all work together differently, where we can get that synergy. So, Judd, if you want to handle the budget comment.
Yeah. So when I arrived, we had a baseline budget on operating and a baseline budget. We had projects in the capital plan. And so the baseline operating budget was around $100 and some million. Most of that goes to people. Actually, almost 70% is people and software licensing. And so what we did when we put together the plan, also put together, which got put into the 6-year capital plan, the investments that'll be needed sequentially throughout. And I don't have the number off the top of my head, but certainly we can lay that out. What do we think that looks like? And you're right. In the first year I was here, we basically tried to ingest everything that we need to do. And then we got, with our colleagues and now that's in the capital plan to basically sequence those out for the next handful of years. Not 6 years. We tried to look a little bit nearer term because technology
it's faster.
It's a lot faster. So grateful to the capital team and the general manager and helping us prioritize and get those things in there. But there is a significant investment in there. And we can basically map that out for you guys.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCann.
Thank you very much. Just a couple quick questions. As we start using more AI tools across the organization and integrating those into our systems, do you think we'll need to update our public access to records policy and maybe our privacy policies? Is that something you're thinking about?
Yes, we're thinking about all those things because a lot of the issues with AI is past poor data management. And so really trying to think about how do we tag data in the right ways so that when AI is implemented, the AI then only has access to certain subsets of data. And so one of the things we've done the last year is we have an internal AI working group. We're establishing a policy, and then we're establishing what does that data and tagging look like so that when we do implement things, one, it doesn't hallucinate and bring in information from the outside, but it also then is secure. And so that's one of the big things we're taking on. And with any new projects, particularly ERP and big projects like Maximo Asset Management, thinking about AI and data management at the very beginning so that we can then efficiently implement AI. We don't have any security issues.
Fantastic. I completely support this direction. How are we going to be kept up to date on progress for this? What's your thinking about that?
Well, I think we can just set a regular cadence of update. I mean, I think that's absolutely.
Yeah, up to
Yeah, I mean, that's what today is. So I think, we were probably thinking like twice a year, we would go on a deeper dive here on our kind of digital modernization journey. The reality is, every month that we talk about a topic, there's a digital modernization kind of lever or thread connected to it. I tell everyone all the time, we are a tech company that moves people. And we are going to continue to move that way very aggressively. Everything from using video to change how we do our concept of operations, to our ERP, how we believe there's significant efficiencies and safety and operating benefits on how we think through our next generation of automatic train and rail inspection. There's so many things. So I think everything you'll see will have a DM thread, and we were thinking twice a year to go a kind of deep dive how kind of the macro, how it fits together, if that works for the board. And if there's a specific topic we need to go deeper on, we could always do that.
That sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Lowe.
A couple other people have already commented on this, but I just have to also say, like, just how incredible it is to see the progress that this department has made under your leadership. Judd, like, you should feel incredible. Like, this is amazing. This is a sick deck, by the way. It's very well done. And I also want to make sure that that video is somewhere where it's shareable, because I would like to send that with a personal note to some stakeholders who have some thoughts about how Metro is managed and who might want some insight into how things are changing. The thing that I think is the coolest about the video and about kind of everything you've been sharing today is that, like, technology should really be about empowering people. And I'm just really impressed to see how holistic the engagement is throughout the workforce in thinking about running Metro as a tech company. The fact that it's like not coming from the top, but that it's actually like coming from the front line is incredible. And I'm probably the guiltiest party on the planet of like overusing the word transformative or transformation, but that's what this really is. In this deck, buried really deep, is like that little metric about the cyber patch like count thing. Just, if the only thing you had presented today was I reduced this number by 30%, when for years before I got here it was just going up and up and up, that would have been, I mean, victory lap around the building, set off a small amount of fireworks, flowers, like, what do you want? Like one of those big sheet cakes, what can we, a plinth, what can we do here? That alone would have been amazing. But that was like one tiny number on one tiny slide of the amount that you have accomplished since you got here. And so I just want to say thank you.
I appreciate that, and I'm just one person, but you're representing a huge department, and luckily, I didn't get there wasn't a revolt after I arrived. So, they have also, I think, really been energized by the general manager's comments and the general manager's commitment, and certainly the board's engagement, as well as all of my colleagues. I think what we have unexpectedly done here is unleash a lot of excitement and enthusiasm around the art of the possible. And I think that is really, I think, what we have done, and we just now have to, continue to deliver and continue to prove that we're here to give them technology that, again, you heard they've been waiting 20 years for. So again, I'm really appreciative of my colleagues in my department and my peers and all of you for just being so supportive. And I think this is a very exciting track we're on.
That's great. I saw the phrase "liberate our data" in your slides, which I loved, but this is really about like liberating innovation throughout every team within Metro. Outstanding.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. Judd, I do have one question.
Oh, sure.
Picking on something that Mr. McAndrew just said. What about with our regional partners? Do they play a role in any of this? Are they somewhere footnoted somewhere that, ultimately we're going to have to reach out, with fair integration or modernization, other areas, procurement potentially, as we hopefully do more as a region for cost efficiency? Are they part of this discussion at some point?
I would say at this time, not in a formal way. I mean, I do have some informal conversations with my peers, particularly around at VRE and in Baltimore. Particularly when I first started, because Baltimore has a significant, Maryland MTA has significant software development group, so we wanted to basically model that. But our goal ultimately is whatever we develop here becomes like open and available to other transit organizations. But we haven't, to your point, really, that's not really a formal process yet for doing that, but certainly there should be in the future.
Yeah. And just one quick question. Do we have the capacity for AI? Because AI apparently needs a lot of, I don't know, what it
Processing power. It needs a lot of compute. Yes, we do. And thankfully, partially that investment was made prior to my arrival, which is that investment in a data center in Equinix. That's direct connects to all the major compute and software providers and gives us an enormous amount of ability to scale.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Nice job. So with no further business to come before the committee, we will stand adjourned. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. McAndrew to begin the Finance and Capital Committee meeting. Mr. McAndrew.
Thank you, Chair Smedberg. I'm Joe McAndrew, the Finance Committee's new chair. I'd like to thank my colleagues on the board for entrusting me and Vice Chair Haddon Lowe with this responsibility. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. I'd like to approve the agenda as presented. Are there any objections by members of the committee to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. Now to the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of our June 26th meeting before us for approval. Are there any objections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, we'll consider the minutes approved as presented. We have today one item on today's agenda. It's approval of a joint development agreement for approximately 2 acres of land at the Landover Metro Station in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Tusillo and Ms. Rubin to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name's Robert Tusillo. I'm the Senior Vice President for Management and Budget, and I'm joined here this morning by Nia Rubin, who's Acting Vice President for Real Estate and Development. As the chairman said, we appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you the Landover, Maryland Joint Development Project, and I'm going to turn it over to Nia to provide the specifics.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning. My name is Nia Rubin. Again, I'm the Acting Vice President for the Office of Real Estate and Development. Thank you to the board committee for this time to present on this project. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Joint development helps Metro advance the regional opportunity and partnership goal from your Metro the way forward by leveraging its real estate for development of transit-oriented development that supports regional economic activity and grows Metro's ridership and revenues. Today, we're here to talk about a joint development at Landover Metro Station, which started with an unsolicited offer in 2023 from Standard Communities. Over the next 16 months, the developer conducted due diligence and studied design options for floodplain mitigation and access to the site. After achieving acceptance of their mitigation plan by the county, Metro commenced joint development agreement negotiations. Concurrent with our negotiations, the developer pursued preliminary comments on entitlements and was awarded a loan from the county, completing the first step in a low-income housing tax credit process, which is a prerequisite for filing the state LIHTC application. Metro facilities at Landover Station include a surface parking lot, an active bus loop, a bus operator training lot, and a traction power station. Adjacent to these facilities is an undeveloped vegetated land, of which we own the area in blue, and the developer controls the area identified as private property. To complete an assemblage supporting development, Standards Unsolicited Offer proposes to purchase the metro parcel outlined here in yellow and combine it with their parcel outlined in red to create 260 units of affordable housing at 60% AMI. The access road shown as a green ribbon connects Maryland 202 and Metro Access Drive will provide emergency vehicle access through the site. Today, we are seeking approval of the joint development agreement. With that approval, we would anticipate executing the agreement later this summer. The developer will then be able to provide evidence of site control for its tax-exempt bond and light tech applications filings this September to the state. The state underwriting and review process takes approximately 1 year. For the balance of this year and 2026, Standard will complete entitlements, design, and secure the balance of construction financing. We will also be working through the details of a maintenance plan with appropriate allocations for the maintenance of the access road. Agreement on this plan with stakeholders within this period is a condition of closing. Closing and groundbreaking is anticipated in early 2027 with expected delivery in late 2029. With that, we seek board authorization to execute a joint development agreement at the Landover Metro Station with Standard Communities. That concludes my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rubin. Open it up for any questions and discussion. Seeing Vice Chair Heddenlow.
Why is this a joint development agreement instead of a fee simple transfer?
Yes, well, we do have some transit facilities that we want to definitely make sure there's no impact to. So we saw this as the best way to do this one as a joint development.
Oh yeah, we got it. What are the transit facilities that are on the parcel?
The traction power substation, which is adjacent to this development.
Yeah, okay, yeah, better hang on to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyone else? I have one. If you can go back to the slide showing the road through the facility. And I know you've been talking to my team about this, and I just raised this and asked to be kept in the loop as you go forward, because while this is an affordable development property, and generally speaking, they'll spend all their funds doing the development itself, and that's really important. That road is, as far as I can tell, still TBD in terms of funding and financing and who's managing it long term. So concern about, as you move it forward before we close this deal, who is taking on that responsibility? Is it the developer? Is it the county? Is it the state? And most importantly, if left open, what is the trigger with which, the developer continues to control the JDA if they can't get the financing and the management structure done? So just appreciate if we can stay in touch on this as it continues to move forward.
Absolutely. We'll continue to do so.
Thanks. Are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'd like to move approval of this item. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Smedberg. I'll ask the board corporate secretary to call the vote.
Chair McAndrew.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heddenlow.
Aye.
Mr. Smedberg.
Aye.
Ms. Klein.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Perfect. Thank you for making my first committee meeting a breeze and a success. With no further business to come before the committee, we stand adjourned. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Alcorn for the Safety and Operations Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. Hopefully I can keep that streak going, first committee. I'm Walter Alcorn, the new chair of the Safety and Operations Committee. So thanks everybody for being here this morning. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. And the agenda is in front of us. Any objections by any members of the committee to the agenda presented? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. And now we have approval of minutes. We have the minutes of our June 26th meeting. Any objections to the minutes as presented? Okay, seeing none, we'll consider the minutes approved. So we have two presentations today, two updates. First, we'll receive an update on Metro's ongoing initiatives around safety and system accessibility. And then we're going to get a status update on the 8000 series rail car procurement, including a timeline of key milestones, accomplishments, and next steps in the project. So I'll turn the floor over to our Chief Safety Officer, Mr. Johnson, and our Chief Accessibility Officer, Ms. Butler, to begin.
Great, thank you, Chair Olcott. Welcome to the permanent fold.
Thank you.
Members of the board, General Manager. Regular board updates over the last few years have communicated how we are ensuring safe service for all, namely by maturing the safety management system to systematically and consistently identify hazards and then assess and mitigate the risks associated with those hazards. Today, we outline the progress we have made to this point, and we also focus on accessibility and how we're making a very accessible system even more accessible for all. Our mission is to deliver safe, reliable, and accessible service to as many customers as possible. Safety is more than just an objective, but rather a core value at the heart of everything we do. Before we dive into specific areas of safety at Metro, it's valuable to see where Metro stands nationally. The look and the layout of the next two slides may be familiar to you. For some key safety metrics tracked by the National Transit Database, we regularly assess Metro's performance against 8 other comparable US transit agencies. Although the national database does lag behind a few months, the latest posted 2025 data points, they do paint a very promising picture. So Metro on these slides is represented by the dark blue line, and the range of the other comparable agencies is represented by the light blue block. So as you can see, Metro remains an industry leader and has been trending downwards since 2022 in rail collisions, and that excludes suicides, mainline derailments, and rail customer injuries. Nearly half of our rail customer injuries are falls on escalators, which is an issue we continue to attempt to mitigate. And for Metro Bus and Metro Access, the story is similar when you compare us nationally. Metro continues to perform extremely well when lined up against comparable transit agencies. While an increase in bus customer injuries was seen from 2022 to 24, there was a decrease early this year, and injuries, when it comes to injuries on the bus side, they do tend to be caused by collisions or slips, trips, and falls. For Metro Access collisions, 2022 was an outlier for us, and performance has remained strong since then. Rear-end collisions or curbing the vehicle tend to be the most common types of collision. Some are in the control of the driver and some are not. And Metro Access injuries have continually been very low, with the most common injury being the result of a collision, which we've already noted are relatively low. So now we have a sense of how Metro fares against other transit agencies in the US. We'll dive into a little detail on progress with the safety management system in 4 different areas. But before I do that, I want to just run through this slide, which captures the safety management system in action. We've redesigned, promoted, and improved the way employees report their safety concerns. 2025 is already on track for the highest number of employee safety hotline reports ever. This is the best indicator, in my opinion, of employees recognizing their own role and responsibility in identifying and escalating safety concerns. And it's also a sign of their increased trust in management to solve the safety issues raised. We have built an extensive system to ensure collaboration to reduce risk, with 21 specially trained safety risk coordinators and advisors who are dedicated to a department to coordinate the management of the safety risks in their respective department. And we have revamped the safety committee structure with committees at the department, facility, and executive levels to proactively assess risk and problem solve those risks. There is also now a well-established joint safety committee with representatives from both management and the unions, which is a very, very valuable, open and transparent way to solve problems. To give you a sense of scale, on the right-hand side of the slide, over half of the hazards reported in 2025 have been mitigated to an acceptable level, and over 1,200 mitigations are being followed through to tackle risk associated with over 350 hazards. The volume of activity demonstrates that safety risks are being proactively identified and mitigated, unlike ever before. And now I wish to spotlight our progress in 4 specific areas. The first area is the agency's drive to be better prepared for emergencies. Our goal is, of course, to prevent emergency incidents from even occurring, and we have paid particular attention to enhancing our facility inspections and the process for fixing problems promptly, whether that be something like a faulty gate or a faulty alarm. We're now much better equipped to identify it quickly and fix the issue quickly. When an incident does occur, we've made huge strides improving leadership and coordination at the scene to make and communicate decisions using our incident management framework, which is based on the federal standard of the National Incident Management System. And Metro hosted the inaugural Regional Safety and Security Summit in April, attended by Senator Mark Warner, which demonstrated Metro's role as a critical central cog and catalyst for regional coordination between jurisdictional first responders. Getting the basics right is critical. We have expanded and formalized our All Hazards Drills program, allowing our facilities to practice evacuation in the event of an emergency. Emergency guides are posted to all communal areas, including this one in our buildings, so employees know what to do and where to go. We've got one over here. So that yellow guide tells you what you need to do, how you need to respond in various different situations. We have grown the quality and number of trainings provided to jurisdictional fire departments, as well as continuing to host large-scale exercises at least twice annually across the region. We've had 3 notable incidents where employees have been resuscitated and saved, which gives great justification for our drive to introduce trauma kits to frontline locations like station manager kiosks, expand our first aid training, and we've also installed defibrillators onto rail maintenance equipment that they use on the roadway, which can be quite isolated if an incident occurs. So the second area of focus today is the progress we've made reducing risk for employees in the workplace, commonly referred to as occupational safety and health. This includes risks such as working at height, in confined spaces, in extreme heat, or with hazardous materials. The Safety Department has grown its expertise in industrial hygiene and workplace safety specialists who have worked to review and improve more than 20 workplace safety programs. The team is accessible to staff more than ever before, with more presence in the field, more observations, and delivering an increasing number of modernized trainings. In addition to safety staff coordinating with operations and infrastructure management to conduct compliance checks to ensure staff is following the stipulated protocols to stay safe in the workplace. The third area of focus today is how we've matured the system to learn lessons, implement changes, and ultimately improve when safety events do occur. It's a very important part of the cycle. Providing transit to 1 million people every day does bring with it risks, and incidents do, of course, occur. We take steps to reduce or eliminate the likelihood of incidents occurring, such as introducing automatic train operations to remove human error, and reduce red signal overruns, as you're well aware. And roadway worker protection incidents have reduced in number this year, but we remain laser focused on the risks associated with working on the track. We had 2 incidents of note on the roadway in May, and they are examples where our investigation process kicks in, coupled with an after-action review to understand the missteps or gaps. We also conduct inspections and compliance checks to understand and identify issues early to prevent incidents occurring in the first place. What I've described there is really the cycle of activities intended to drive down risk. Whether it's on Metro Bus, Metro Rail, or paratransit Metro Access vehicles, we seek out the root cause and identify corrective actions in response to safety events. Mitigations are tracked through the safety management system to ensure closure, which may be an action might be something like a communication to staff to remind them of a certain fact or piece of knowledge, an update to a procedure, or a change of a rule. And the fourth and final area of focus today is modernization of our system. Safety drives modernization and vice versa. In the process to return to automatic train operation and solve the issue of red signal overruns, we followed a rigorous safety certification process, which involved safety specialists working in lockstep with the project team to ensure the necessary safety risks were identified and then mitigated. That same approach will be taken for other modernization efforts, such as platform screen doors or any signal system update that may occur in the future. A similar rigorous safety certification process is being followed with the 8000 series design and build process in close coordination with WMSC, which we'll hear about in a little more detail shortly. And as we modernize across all areas, following the launch of Better Bus, we now plan in the coming months to apply lessons learned in rail to the bus side and create bus standards and operating rules with a committee to manage them alongside a formal compliance process to ensure bus operations and bus fleet are following the procedures set. That doesn't mean that that's not happening now. It's just an improvement on the way we do business. And so to move the needle on safety, we're not relying on a single fix. Instead, we're advancing a set of targeted initiatives that work together to improve our safety management system, namely the policies, procedures, organizational tools and culture, and ultimately our outcomes. We've made it a priority to improve the way we collect, manage, and use safety data. By giving teams access to cleaner, more reliable data, which is related to what Judd was talking about earlier, we can better identify risk patterns and focus our actions where they'll actually make most impact. This also helps leadership make proactive, data-driven decisions. A strong indicator of better data is that we're launching this month Metro's life-saving safety principles that clearly and simply define for our workforce the behavior we expect in order to mitigate the most common or serious safety risks we face. That's the graphic on the right there. Those risks derive from our improved data, and these principles will help everyone from senior leaders to the front line understand what matters most when it comes to safety. It's about creating a common language and a shared focus. And then our roadway worker protection program, which keeps staff safe on the track, was introduced in 2010 and we've experienced no fatalities since it was introduced. However, we continually seek to improve the quality of the program with meetings of the Rules Committee every 2 weeks, and we're currently updating training, reinforcing safe procedures, and increasing oversight. These efforts ensure that as conditions change, our protection of roadway workers remains strong and effective. Fatigue is a hidden but serious risk, especially for a 24/7 operation like Metro. We're enhancing our fatigue management process by improving schedules, introducing tools to monitor fatigue, and engaging employees in identifying what's working and what's not. This helps reduce the likelihood of human error. We know also that just culture works, but to build trust, we're starting with real practical examples. In selected cases, we're showing how just culture principles can guide fair accountability and learning. These pilots serve as models we can scale across the organization as trust and understanding grows. These initiatives aren't isolated, they reinforce each other. Better data supports fatigue monitoring. Clear principles support just culture. Together, they create a system where safety is embedded, people are empowered, and risks are addressed before they become incidents. So that's the first part of this presentation. I will now hand it over to our Vice President of System-Wide Accessibility, Maggie Butler. We're really fortunate to have Maggie on the team. She's worked in the field of accessibility for over 18 years in the intersection between research, policy development, and lived experience. So, Maggie, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share the work of system-wide accessibility and how we are building on Metro's long-standing commitment to access for all riders. The foundation we stand on today is built upon decades of intentional work, advocacy, design enhancement, and public involvement that have shaped accessibility across Metro's rail, bus, and paratransit services. Our responsibility now is to carry that legacy forward with scale and innovation. This commitment is reflected in our history from our early adoption of accessibility features in the 1970s to the continued integration of new solutions over time, including priority seating, audible announcements, detectable warning surfaces, and the launch of a digital tool for Metro Access that helps customers schedule trips and stay informed about their rides. As we advance Metro's mission, accessibility is not a standalone effort. It is a standard woven into how we deliver service. System-wide accessibility leads the authority's work to embed access into every part of Metro, across rail, bus, paratransit, infrastructure, digital platforms, communication, and workforce practices. Our goal is simple but powerful: to ensure that every rider interaction, every customer experience is consistent, dependable, and responsive to people's needs regardless of ability. This work aligns directly with Metro's strategic transformation plan, supporting a modern transit system that serves everyone. What makes system-wide accessibility unique is our enterprise-wide coordination. We align policies, programs, and design standards across departments so that accessibility is implemented consistently, not in fragments, but as one Metro. Our foundation is rooted in federal accessibility laws, but we go beyond compliance. We apply universal design principles and a human-centered mindset, addressing access needs before they become barriers. We're also data-driven. We listen to our riders' lived experiences and use trend analysis to guide solutions that are smarter and more sustainable. Our scope covers several key areas. We engage early in the planning and design through capital project reviews. We support internal teams by monitoring digital content and tools, and to ensure that they are accessible, easy to navigate, and usable for everyone. And we work closely with the Accessibility Advisory Committee, its subcommittees, and community members, so their feedback guides decisions across Metro. At Metro, we have adopted a robust pillar-based approach to accessibility because access must be considered at every decision point. These pillars are not isolated initiatives, they are interconnected, focus areas that embed accessibility across Metro. By structuring our work, excuse me, around the 6 accessibility pillars, we are providing the organization with clear, actionable frameworks to anticipate access needs before barriers emerge, promote consistency across departments, projects, and service lines, ensure accountability for outcomes, not just good intentions, and advance the strategic transformation plan by making accessibility visible, measurable, and integrated into Metro's long-term growth. By using a structured pillar approach, Metro is addressing current accessibility needs while positioning the organization for the future. Each pillar provides a roadmap to scale our efforts. During fiscal year 25, we focused on strengthening core accessibility features across the system. This includes design reviews for fare gate upgrades and bus loop improvements. Looking ahead, we are identifying opportunities to enhance access beyond the requirements wherever feasible. The Accessibility Advisory Committee has been a valued partner since 1970s. And over the past year, the committee has provided input on approximately 13 unique improvement projects, in addition to ongoing initiatives, including Better Bus and wayfinding upgrades. In the current fiscal year, we aim to increase their participation to help shape future projects and advance accessibility system-wide. These are examples that illustrate how our approach builds on progress while enhancing Metro's ability to deliver accessible service. That concludes my remarks, and I welcome your questions.
Very good. Thank you both. Excellent updates and presentations, very thorough, both of you. I'll ask if any committee members have questions or anyone else on the board. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the updates again, and keep up the great work, both sides. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, and now we have the 8000 series update. So really, we have update on that, and then a little Q&A afterwards, and then maybe a quick break.
Morning, Chair Alcorn, alternate Vice Chair Worth, and board members, Metro's Chief Fleet Officer, Shashil Ramirez, presenting alongside our Chief Safety and Readiness Officer, Jamie Johnson. And together we are here to provide an update on Metro's 8000 series railcar procurement. During today's presentation, we will start with a project overview to remind folks of the history of the procurement to date, along with the key milestones as well as the current project delivery schedule. We'll also discuss some of the public and internal stakeholder engagement efforts that have been conducted and how this feedback have been incorporated to inform the design approach for the new fleet. We will also take a look at key design features, their safety and security benefits, as well as improvements we've made to customer experience. And finally, we'll close the presentation with a discussion of the local economic benefits and cost efficiency features that have been incorporated in the current design. As we know, everything we do at Metro is aligned with our strategic transformation plan. Today's presentation will focus on how the 8000 series fleet procurement specifically advances the service excellence goal of Metro's strategic transformation plan. It also touches on benefits to our talented teams, as well as advances our regional opportunity and partnerships and financial stewardship goals. As an overview of the project, in 2020, Metro selected Hitachi Rail USA to deliver the 8000 series fleet by executing the base order of 256 rail cars and the related deliverables. Some of these deliverables include training materials and Hitachi-led training of our engineering, maintenance, and operating staff to service the new rail cars. As part of training, we will also receive full cab simulators, desktop simulators, instructor stations, and the network configuration required for use in training. These simulators, more advanced than those of the 7000 series that exist today, will simulate the acceleration and deceleration performance of the rail cars, including responses to grade changes in curves, operation under severe weather scenarios, as well as enabling the replication of operating conditions at different times of the day, various train lengths, and varying loads to help prepare operators for real-world operation. The current procurement has several vehicle options that can be executed in addition to the base order. Option 1 of 104 rail cars will enable the full retirement of Metro's 3000 series fleet without a reduction in the overall fleet size and ensuring railcar availability for revenue service. Options 2 and 3 can be exercised for future service growth if desired, and there are other options that can be executed to support the maintainability of the fleet. For example, vendor management inventory is an option that would outsource spare parts to Hitachi themselves, and there's an option to extend the warranty that already exists for the overall car from 2 years to a total 4-year coverage. This warranty would be executed with the car builder Hitachi and is separate from other subsystem warranties that already exist, such as the 5-year wheelset warranty, 6-year propulsion warranty, and a 10-year car body warranty. The first pilot car is currently scheduled to be delivered in June 2027. The pilot car is a fully functional rail car that Metro will use to begin the commissioning and acceptance activities prior to certifying the cars for revenue service. When the contract was initially awarded in 2020, the original pilot car delivery was scheduled to arrive in February of 24 at that time. This original schedule, however, was proposed in June 2021 before the full impact of the COVID pandemic was known and the related global supply chain issues were subsequently realized. In addition to the market conditions, the industry, the industry has experienced rail supplier consolidations that have continued to increase in the recent years, which have typically resulted in longer delivery times for major railcar systems and components. The schedule changes summarily can be attributed to one primary cause and one secondary cause, namely contractor performance and contract modifications. Firstly, Metro has executed 8 contract modifications to date, with a 9th that is currently in negotiation. To be clear, this is consistent with industry norms for a railcar procurement, and in fact, the number of modifications to date on the 8000 series railcar is comparatively low to recent procurements, and most of these are administrative in nature. Therefore, only 2 contract mods have included schedule extensions so far, and the June 2027 date reflects a 6-month proposed extension for the negotiation currently underway. The first extension was caused by the COVID-19 force majeure and extended the schedule by approximately half a year. And the second extension is associated with the major car body change to incorporate the open gangway design as well as the aluminum car shell. In negotiating this extension, Metro was careful to integrate schedule mitigations. For example, Hitachi is significantly more experienced in aluminum car production, so by changing the car body material from stainless steel to aluminum, we mitigated the schedule impact positively while also introducing weight savings, energy savings, and production quality benefits while leveraging Hitachi's established expertise in aluminum car body manufacturing as well as their associated supply chains. In addition to the contracted schedule changes, Hitachi is obviously an additional 12 months behind schedule, which culminates in the June 2027 delivery window. The main drivers of the performance delay, as noted on the slide, are inadequate availability of overall engineering resources, an aggressive and somewhat impractical schedule, and suboptimal supplier coordination due to the consolidations we previously covered. The scheduling issues are driven primarily by tight turnaround times with the associated design review meetings and other key milestones, such as design qualification tests, with multiple activities occurring concurrently. Supplier coordination issues have resulted in delays in receiving major components and design documentation on the rail cars, including automatic train control and friction brake systems. However, despite these issues, Hitachi and their suppliers remain fully engaged and committed to meeting Metro's expectations for car delivery. To help mitigate these issues, the Metro team is working diligently to recover the schedule by, firstly, beating our contractually required turnaround time for submittal reviews. Contractually, Metro's team has 30 days to review design documentation. We have consistently set and met an internal target of 20 days. We are continuing to work collaboratively with Hitachi and their suppliers during design reviews to minimize non-critical comments, while at the same time retaining the full integrity of the engineering design process. We are scheduling recurring meetings for advanced planning of activities that are happening to ensure that resources are available and that documentation meets the required quality. We are also increasing face-to-face meetings moving forward with Metro, Hitachi, and sub-suppliers, including at the design locations. And finally, we have engaged Metro as well as Hitachi and supplier executives to ensure prioritization of the 8000 series program and support from an overall staffing perspective. Once we receive the first rail cars, Metro will complete the requisite commissioning and acceptance activities involving the post-delivery inspection, testing as required, and including dynamic testing and ATC functionality. Following the burn-in test and final inspection, we are on track to certify the first 8000 series cars for revenue service in 2028. As we previously discussed, Metro has completed extensive public and internal stakeholder engagement, which serves to inform the design of the features that are important both to our internal staff, including operators, as well as customers. Through this collaborative approach, the project team gained greater insight into the growing demand for more space and for a modernized onboard passenger information system. Feedback from the public aligned well with input from our Accessibility Advisory Committee to increase the number of handholds as well as improve the onboard digital signage. Compared to the 7000 series railcars, the 8000 series fleet will have 24 more handholds as well as an additional stanchion pole at the center of the car. The general public comments have focused on increasing the number of onboard displays, while at the same time integrating real-time rail system information and service alerts. Specifically, the Accessibility Advisory Committee has recommended improvements to digital screen readability with higher contrast displays. Our internal stakeholder feedback have really focused on operator cab size and layout, as well as accessibility to the car, specifically at the center space. The center doors provide the most direct access to ADA seating areas, including the dedicated wheelchair spaces on the 8000 series cars, and are important for passenger distribution and access along the platform to enable safe and efficient boarding and alighting. The new rail cars will increase the onboard digital displays from the 7 that exist on the 7000 series to 28 on the 8000 series. This engagement process culminated last year in the Fleet of the Future Expo, in which we had 36,000 people tour a soft mock-up of the rail car, and we received more than 6,500 survey responses, all of which were analyzed and helped inform the final design as it exists today. Metro's incorporated all of the recommendations highlighted on this slide through this collaborative design process via a combination of the contract modifications and the ongoing design review. We are now in the final design review phase of the project, and we expect to complete this in early 2026.
So I now have an opportunity just to outline some of the design features that relate to safety. This is a fantastic opportunity for the organization, as we know, to not just catch up, but to be in the leading edge of safety and service delivery for our customers. So the exterior design features of the 8000 series offer several key benefits to advancing Metro's safety culture and mitigating operational risk. The intercar barrier enhancements include high visibility features and improved coverage of the intercar gap. And then there is the platform monitoring cameras, which are a new feature that gives operators more visibility along the exterior of the train to improve situational awareness and confirm customers are clear before closing doors and moving the train. And then we also have new undercar lighting, which will assist mainline emergency response and enable inspection process enhancements that benefit fleet reliability and maintenance efficiency. Moving on to interior features. The open gangways increase, as you can see here, increase customers' line of sight and ease of movement between cars, which can help reduce crowding and improve emergency egress. The features, one of the features is a high visibility door status indicators, which enhance customer awareness with placement for improved visibility for ADA customers. A new design feature are the door indicators installed on each doorpost. The indicators will turn red, flashing in unison with the ADA warning light upon receipt of a door close command, remaining so until the doors are fully closed and locked, extinguishing when the ADA, and then the ADA light extinguishes at the same time. As noted already, the rail cars will also have 24 more handholds and one extra central door stanchion pole to provide more access to actually hold on those stanchion poles, the central ones. It's not just a single pole, it offers multiple elements of that pole to grab hold of for those traveling and when they're standing during their trip. And then the new railcar design also provides designated multi-purpose space for strollers, bicycles, or large luggage to reduce conflict with ADA seating areas, improve passenger mobility within the cars. Additionally, the fleet introduces new low-level exit path markings to help guide customers to exits in an emergency. My slip there was the fact that I'm about to now talk about how that relates to flights when you're on a plane. They're very similar to guiding you to the exit on a plane, and those remain operational for up to 90 minutes in the event of lighting loss. These path markings reflect increased walkway width available along the entire length of the rail cars, achieved through the hybrid seating arrangement shown in the rightmost image on the slide. In line with Metro's prioritization of safety and security, the 8000 series fleet will be equipped with improved surveillance capabilities through an upgraded video system that enables real-time video transmission to the control center over 5G and Wi-Fi networks. This is something that's been alluded to by the general manager and Judd. Hopefully you're hearing that theme, that video is changing the way we operate. And we're taking every advantage of that. This builds on our ongoing work to enable real-time video monitoring on the 6000 series fleet and upgrading this capability on the 7000 fleet. For comparison, the 8000 series will have 2 more cameras in the operator cab and 4 more cameras per rail car than the current 7000 series fleet. The camera system will also have much higher resolution than the 7000 fleet and increased storage capacity to provide a longer look-back period. The open gangway design enhances passenger safety and comfort by improving visibility and allowing easier monitoring of customers' surroundings, which can help deter potential criminal activity. The open gangway also increases passenger egress space to alleviate crowding. And then all digital systems in the 8000 series fleet are being developed in compliance with Metro's latest cyber security standards, including network intrusion detection and capability. So multiple features there which relate to safety and security, and I'll hand it back to Sushil.
passenger information system in the new fleet is intended to deliver real-time system updates and Metro service alerts through the 28 onboard displays that we've already mentioned. The displays are intentionally spaced no further than 14 feet apart throughout the rail cars, the intent being to improve visibility, but also access to customers who are distributed throughout the car. In addition to live service information, the displays will provide information on current location and routing, transfer points for both rail lines and bus routes, news, weather, and station-specific venues and attractions. Through this digital modernization, we also expect to create opportunities for increased revenue through advertising compared to the 7 digital displays on the 7000 series fleet. Metro is also pursuing options currently to install digital displays on the 6000 series fleet, which, as you know, currently has none. As part of the 8000 series procurement, Metro intentionally sought a vendor that would support the local economy through this project. All 8000 series rail cars will be assembled and tested at Hitachi's facility in Hagerstown, Maryland. According to Hitachi's proposal, their economic analysis projects supporting up to 460 full-time jobs at that facility, while additionally, the local assembly and testing is projected to support 1,300 additional jobs in the region and generate a total economic benefit of approximately $70 million. In support of our financial stewardship and resource management strategic goal, the design intentionally integrates features that support long-term cost efficiency through operations. For example, radiant heated floors are more energy efficient than relying only on the HVAC systems. They are more reliable for long-term maintenance and allow for an overall lighter car weight than a larger HVAC system that would be required without them. Selective door close features allow operators to only open the center doors at terminals or at end-of-line stations to help reduce temperature changes throughout the car. Currently, at end-of-line stations, as you all know, all doors open. Interior lighting and digital displays will have auto brightness adjustments based on the ambient lighting conditions as well. And this will be combined with a power saving or layover mode, which will automatically activate when the cars are parked in the rail yard. Metro estimates that these features, in combination with the reduced car weight enabled by the design change from the stainless steel to aluminum car bodies, will reduce energy costs and support improved system performance for an overall savings of approximately $40 million over the life of the cars. This concludes the presentation, and welcome any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? First of all, Director Worth from the committee. Well, committee members, I think, first.
You're a committee member.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for the presentation. And I have a question about, well, first, I guess we're all really excited to for the 8000 series cars after touring them last year on the National Mall and then also learning about these features more in the presentation. My question is more clarifying question. So you mentioned that the first rail cars are anticipated to arrive in 2 years in June 2027. And in the presentation, it mentioned that there's 80 rail cars that will go in revenue service in 2028. And I was wondering if that is a revision, if you can speak to that, like confirm that that's correct, that I got that correct, and if that is a revision to option 1 with the 104 rail cars, and if that will replace the 3000 series rail cars.
Thank you for the question. So just want to address 2 distinct parts of the question. So the first is the delivery of the rail cars and how they enter revenue service. So typically, when the pilot cars arrive, there is a commissioning and testing process that the cars will undergo to certify them for safe passenger service. All subsequent cars follow a very similar methodology before they enter revenue service. So even though the first cars will arrive on the property in June of 2027, historically, and we anticipate this to be true for the 8000s as well, that first 4 cars will probably take about a year to get safety certified and fully tested. The current delivery schedule ramps up to approximately 12 to 16 cars a month after that. So we do expect in 2028, by the end of calendar year 28, we will have 80 rail cars on the property that will be then subsequently entering service as well. Please remind me the second part of your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that was like a revision to option 1 with the 104 rail cars, if those 80 rail cars will replace the 3000 series?
So this is specific to the existing base order fleet, the 256 rail cars. So that schedule for pilot car arrival as well as cars entering service is only considering the base option right now. Metro has not executed option 1 at this time, which obviously is required for full fleet replacement of the 3000s, but it is something that we are considering at the moment. So we are doing some analyses based on operations as well as where we need to be service delivery wise to make that decision.
Great.
If I can, I just want to add that last point. So option 1 is laid out in our 6-year CIP, and we have funding for that. But we, there's a technical element to this, but there's also a performance element to this. And so we want Hitachi to be successful. We want them to be successful at their new factory in Hagerstown. We want them to be a reliable partner because we have these trains for a long time. I had an opportunity to meet with the CEO last month. We need better performance on schedule. I met with him a year ago. We got better performance for a period of time. Unfortunately, that performance didn't hold. So that's why I met with him again last month. It was a very good meeting. I do believe he and his senior team are committed to this. They quote unquote look at us as their flagship partner in the United States. They want us to be having these trains. We have seen some improvement since that meeting last month. Their schedule is June. We're not yet convinced that they're going to meet their schedule in June, but that's what they are currently saying. So, option 1, we obviously cannot move forward with an option unless performance gets better. I made that crystal clear to the CEO. They understand that. And again, we want them to be very successful. So we are working closely with them, getting our reviews done faster, working with our sub-supplier. There's been a variety of topics, and this is not just us. This is an industry, quite frankly, international challenge between rail vehicles and signaling of how big and expensive and how just limited with consolidation to get these things done. So I just thought it was really important as the CEO to mention, I've talked to their CEO. We want Hitachi again to be successful, but we are going to hold them accountable for their performance, and the option is one of those ways. And if they cannot perform better, then we have other thoughts around, do we do a 9K contract? There are value in doing the option, and we are seeing some improvement, and we want to really see that for the rest of this year.
All right, thank you. Dr. Loeb.
Yeah, I think we need to drill down on that a little bit more. This slipping on the timeline is like super concerning. I mean, like I want to feel great about the 8Ks, but it's hard to feel great about how much this timeline is changing. I would like to see these rail cars before I get off this board, please.
How long are you going to be on the board for?
Don't threaten me with a good time. All right. Specifically regarding how the timeline has been amended. As the timeline for the pilot car delivery has moved, has similarly the deadline for exercising option 1 moved?
So as part of each contract mod, there is an extension that was negotiated into the execution of the option orders as well. So option 1 started off as NTP plus 54 months. We did negotiate extensions on that, so that's now NTP plus 70 months, which puts that timeline December 2026 for that decision to be made. Similar extensions were made to the option 2 decision as well. Options 3 and beyond are unaffected because they never had an NTP plus hard deadline, and it was really predicated on sort of last car arriving on property.
That's good to hear. Thanks.
All right, Director McAndrew.
Thanks. All this is important, and appreciate you guys' focus on this, and Randy, and appreciate your continued updates to us as a board in terms of delivery, because slippage is concerning, especially in light of just delay in schedule now, while not foreseen, may add in tariffs, which add in costs, which add in concerns there. So again, continued slippage adds cost, and that's not what we want to see either. But I do understand that there will be a visit to the great facility in Hagerstown this fall. I hope that many of you will come and see what great mountain country Maryland looks like, and it's a great place to be building and growing the U.S. rail car manufacturing facilities of America. So thank you.
All right, very good. Any other questions? I do have a follow-up question on the options. Can you put the option slide back up? There's been a lot of discussion at DMV Moves, and Randy, I know you've been very articulate about with automation, we will have choices in terms of either adding more system operations capacity or reducing costs. I guess my question is, are any of these options in play, or is our automation timeline further down the road?
Yeah, great question, board member. So full automation is significantly further down the road than this, for sure. I think option two, so I guess I'll take a step back. And Shashil, if we need to get into details, Shashil can provide more. We are building this rail fleet with Hitachi with the understanding and capability to go into CBTC, so communications-based train control. So they will not be provisioned with communications-based train control because they have to work on our current network, which is not CBTC, but they are being outfitted in a way for us to then put in CBTC. So basically, when we upgrade our signaling system, the goal here is to go from what we would call wayside or trackside signaling, which is track circuits, and I think some of you were out last year and you'll get to see it on your field trip next month, but very tons of equipment out in the field. We have to have a lot of people down on the roadway. When we move to a new communications-based train control system, it's really based in the vehicles themselves and very limited stuff out on the roadway. And we were building this fleet with Hitachi, assuming we were going to CBTC. We are very far behind in our signaling. I will say we are in great shape overall in our system. We are very behind in our signaling. Probably of all of our large peers, I would think maybe the furthest behind on signaling. And that's why last night at Woodley, we had another signaling problem. We really need, and you're going to see when we talk a lot about budget this year, every dollar we can do on the staff, we're going to propose to the board for putting into signaling. Option one will, if we go forward, would very much be like the base order. Now, if we got some synergy on the funding and program movement on CBTC, we could have option one potentially have CBTC in it. There's a lot we'd have to work and figure out on that. And it might cause a delay in that, but there might be value add and a full analysis. Option two definitely gives us the time to think through that. So a lot of this is in play. And this is why, to me, DMV Moves and really determining that we are going to get the requisite funding to move our signaling program is so important. In a lot of places in the world, you would do the vehicles and the signaling together. That's how you would procure that. We did not do that. It's not the end of the world, but now we got to really try to figure out how those two things mirror up. It'll be the most cost efficient and the best for delivery.
Great, thank you. And a related question, we're still on track to seeing a business plan for rail automation by December, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. And one of the things we would like to do with the board is probably, we're thinking October, and we have a little more discussion with board here, and the chair's not here, but bring an early capital workshop in October this year to kind of further do a little trade-off analysis on some big components and signaling. It's kind of a precursor to the business plan in many ways.
So would that be the outline, I think that was mentioned a few meetings ago, of the business plan? That would be similar to that?
I think that part plus just the larger capital program and the different inputs that go into that. And I know the board's been talking about that a little in the last year. So this year we'd like to get ahead of that in October versus kind of the back end of the budget process, hearing feedback from the board.
Great, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's take a quick 5-minute break before our board meeting. So thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Paul Smedberg, First Vice Chair of the Metro Board. Thank you for being here today. We'll begin with the approval of the agenda. I'd like to consider the agenda approved with one addition: indemnification of Amtrak as a consent item. Are there any objections to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as amended. Thank you. We have two sets of minutes for approval: January 26, 2025 board meeting and the January 26, or June, I'm sorry, June 2026, 2025 board meeting and June 2026, 25 executive session. I'd like to consider these minutes approved as presented. Does anyone have any comments, deletions, additions to any of those sets of minutes? Hearing and seeing none, we'll consider the minutes approved as presented. There's no employee spotlight today, so we'll move right into public comment and reports by our advisory boards. But first, we'll turn the floor over to anyone who is here in person that has signed up to provide some comment before the board. I believe we have one speaker. Bill, Mr. Orleans.
Good afternoon. Earlier today, there was reference during the executive committee meeting, the semi-annual talented teams update, and it had to do with the most recent employee survey. It would have been helpful for that report to have appended to it a copy of the survey itself. It would have been far more helpful if there was a total number of respondents to that survey that was indicated at some point. If it's in here, I failed to see it. It's maybe relatively important or not, but if 100 employees responded to it, 30% of this or 40% of that means something. It means something different if 1,000 or 10,000 employees responded to it. I would like at some point to see a copy of the survey itself and have the number of the total number of respondents to it. On a second matter, it's almost 2 weeks since implementation of the so-called Better Bus Initiative. I don't think it's too soon to know if there have been hiccups. Some of us have thought there would be a substantial number of hiccups before implementation. I've even heard senior staff here suggest that there would be hiccups upon implementation. I'd be interested in knowing thus far, have there been a lot of hiccups? How are they reported? How are complaints and questions reported? At some point in the near future, I'd like to hear the more immediate story of the implementation of the so-called Better Bus. Lastly, at the last DMV Moves meeting, it was suggested, it was not certain, but it was suggested that at the next meeting, it would be its last, and DMV Moves was going to report to the region on its analysis, its findings, and its recommendations. I don't see how anybody who's principally involved in DMV Moves, nor anybody else in the region, can reliably expect that you're going to have much public input upon those recommendations, since virtually all the work of DMV Moves has been closed to the public. At some point, DMV Moves should offer summaries of discussion of all the various work group meetings and committee meetings within the two work groups for the public to have an understanding of what the basis upon will be recommended in its final report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. We did not receive any public comments in advance, so we'll move right to our advisory bodies. First, we'll hear from the Accessibility Advisory Committee Chair, Pat Sheehan, who has provided a pre-recorded report.
Well, this is Pat Sheehan with the AAC, recording this for the board, and it's great to be with you. Of course, I'm in Dallas, Texas right now, and I don't think I'll be able to make this board meeting, so I'm pleased to be able to do a recording. I think that it's been a short time since our last meeting, so I only have a few things to report, but I think they're significant. One, I think that the optimization that we're seeing on the rail is really good. I'm very pleased with the ATO that has been expanded. I've been following the track time, the times that have increased for the particular rise. And I've talked to people who have been very pleased with the fact that the rides are so smooth. So we're very pleased about that. I think the ATO is great. It's good to see the money being reinvested back into the system. So I'm pleased about the expansion of the rail going forward, and I don't see any real issues. The only issues that that were brought up to the AAC was actually that we want to make sure that there's going to be sufficient time that we have time for maintenance on the tracks. We don't want to go back to those days. I know that, the committee knows that, certainly you know that, but I think we're making good progress on that. Secondly, with respect to the bus system, there have been no issues reported that I've heard with respect to problems for disabled people with the Better Bus network expansion. I think everything is going well. If I hear anything, of course, we'll work through it and report on that, and we'll fix those problems going forward. But so far, so good. And with respect to Metro Access, I think that we're also working steady as we go with Metro Access. I think I reported last time that we had a 90% on-time performance. I know that staff under Mr. Blake is continuing to do training, continuing to look at how we can improve efficiencies, making sure that individuals are getting good service. So over the last 3 or 4 months, we have seen an increase in on-time performance. So I think whatever they're doing over there is working. So looking forward to when we get back in September. I think we have a good group going forward. Once again, I want to thank Don Drummer, particularly on the Prince George's County work that he has done with us and for us. Done a remarkable job of moving that project forward. We look forward to working in the fall on that project and moving forward with that. But Don has been a huge help for the AAC, and we extend our thanks to the work that he did in moving us forward. So we'll see you in September, and thank you for your attention today.
Thank you as always, Pat. Now we'll call on Mr. Cole Stout for the RAC report. Cole, I think you're virtual today.
Yes.
Yep.
Good afternoon. Like Pat, some travels have got me joining you all virtual today. I appreciate the opportunity to present this month's Riders Advisory Council report. Last week, General Manager Clark and Chief Gonzalo joined the RAC for our quarterly in-person meeting at Metro HQ. We want to thank them for joining us. We had a really great conversation that spanned a lot of different issues. I think the overall perception from RAC members continues to be that Metro's on the right track, increased ridership, increased reliability, and the new Better Bus initiative is off to a overall good start. Obviously, there's just some small things that were flagged by some RAC members that we're working on the back end with staff to ensure are addressed. One thing that that I think would be a really great opportunity to help riders across the system that I believe a member of the community raised during the meeting was that if a rider wants to print all the timetables for one route, they have to print 6 different PDF files because of the way they're formatted on the website. And it might help to have at least one option that consolidates all 6 files. So a rider could just download and print one file instead of having to ensure they have all 6, if that's the preferred method they have for checking on timetables for the bus routes that matter to them. We also had a really great conversation with staff about bus flag design. As you know, like staff has been out and replaced all of the bus flags for the new launch. And we're really excited to be a part of the process of what do the new flags look like in 2 years or so as we install those permanent bus flags. While we are off next month, last August, we were able to take the RAC out to Metro's Integrated Command and Communication Center. And so we're looking to try to do something similar to that this August to keep the RAC involved and get some behind the scenes engagement with staff on issues that are important to riders. So we want to thank the staff for their work to help facilitate that. That will conclude my report for July.
Thank you, Cole. Any questions or comments for Cole from the RAC? Seeing none? Thank you, Cole. Appreciate your time. All right. Today we are unfortunately saying farewell to an outstanding alternate board member, Tom Graham. Tom, would you please stand? Tom has served as a representative of Maryland, ensuring that the state's priorities, especially those impacting Prince George's County, were well represented at WMATA. He often advocated for transparency and supported reforms aimed at financial sustainability while maintaining critical service levels. He also served with distinction on the Washington Suburban Transit Commission, where he helped coordinate regional transit planning and funding between Maryland counties and WMATA. We would like to thank you for your service with a token of our appreciation and this official commendation. I would like to move the following. Whereas Tom Graham faithfully represented Prince George's County, Maryland on the Metro Board of Directors from May 2019 through June 2025. And whereas during his tenure on the board, Mr. Graham served as an alternate director for Maryland, Secretaries of Transportation Pete Ron, Greg Slater, and Jim Ports, as well as Director Don Drummer. And whereas in his role as an alternate director, Mr. Graham could be depended on to serve when called upon, and was able to seamlessly fill in to represent the interest of both Prince George's County, the state of Maryland, in various board deliberations. Whereas Mr. Graham contributed his extensive expertise in corporate governance and board service to the Metro Board of Directors, including the development of its strategic transformation plan, Your Metro, the Way Forward. And whereas Mr. Graham held leadership positions on the Washington Suburban Transit Commission, including as the WSTC chair in fiscal year 21, fiscal year 23, and fiscal year 25, and as the WSTC vice chair in fiscal year 20 and 23. Whereas during his tenure on the WSTC, Mr. Graham was instrumental in establishing the WSTC Study Fund, which funds studies supporting topics of interest within Montgomery and Prince George's counties, such as Metro Access Strategic Study to address long-term regional paratransit needs, began in 2024, and the Transit-Oriented Development Strategy Study, which began in 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the WMATA Board of Directors offers its sincere gratitude to Thomas Graham for his service and leadership as a member of the WMATA Board of Directors, and be it further and resolved, that the Metro Board of Directors commends Mr. Graham for his dedication to enhancing safety, service quality, and regional mobility for the benefit of WMATA and the region's transit riders. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Lowe, Mr. McAndrew, Ms. Jarvis, everyone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Clark, would you like to say a few words before?
Oh, I just want to say, Board Member Graham, on behalf of the entire staff, thank you for, a lot of years of service. And every time that you joined, you definitely contributed to the conversations, and just really appreciate it. I still remember, it's probably like week 2 that we went to dinner, to lunch, and I really enjoyed getting to know you that way. So just on behalf of the whole organization, thanks. It's a lot of years of being there for Metro, and I'm sure that you're still gonna very much care about Metro and let us know how we can continue to improve. So thank you.
And I just want to say briefly, Tom, I know we both started at about the same time. And your expertise, which we mentioned in the resolution here, serving on boards and knowledge of the community was so key at very critical points when we were dealing with some pretty big issues and serious issues. And just really appreciated your thoughtfulness and your steadfastness on a lot of those things, and it was really extremely helpful and critical to how we advanced and moved this organization forward. So thank you for that. It was really key.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you. My comments are all around respect and gratitude. So gratitude for Senator Also Brooks for appointing me, then County Executive Also Brooks. And really enjoyed the opportunity to work with this group of professionals. I don't think I serve on 3 or 4 corporate boards. There isn't a more committed, harder working board than this board here. And you do a great service to our community. So I want to thank you for your support through the years. My colleague, Joe Pinkandrew, and Jonathan Rogers, thank you so much for everything you did over time. And my fellow colleague I see is now on the board, Debbie Jarvis. So we spent a lot of years together at PEPCO when I was a region president, and she was in communications, bailing me out constantly. So thank you very much for that. But really, I appreciate it. I've enjoyed the time, and you really do God's work here. So thank you very much.
So we'll start on the far end. If you all could look at his camera first, and Jose. And mine last. Got it. Thank you.
Now we have one business item before us, amendments to the Accessibility Advisory Committee bylaws. The amendments add standards of conduct, processes for responding to media inquiries, classifications regarding member terms and term limits, and other administrative changes. I'd like to move approval of this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Lowe. Are any discussions or comments on that item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next, July marks Disability Pride Month, a time to honor the history, experiences, and contributions of people with disabilities. It commemorates the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act in July of 1990, which was landmark civil rights legislation which prohibits discrimination and promotes accessibility. People with disabilities contribute meaningfully to every aspect of society, including our workforce, public service, and communities. This month is an opportunity to celebrate those contributions and continue to support inclusive practices across all levels of our organization. Our board reaffirms its commitment to accessibility in both policy and practice. Our continued progress depends on intentional leadership and active follow-through on accessibility goals. Celebrating Disability Month is not only about awareness, it's about affirming dignity and human rights. Finally, I'd also like to note that there is no board activities in August. We will return on September 11th. That concludes my report, and I'll turn the floor over to our GM, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. Want to start off with, I was going to just give a quick verbal report out on Better Bus as our public comment. So overall, we do believe on the macro, Better Bus is going really well, in many ways better than even expected. With that said, that's not to suggest that Better Bus has been perfect. We've said that from the start. So, you know, when it's an individual issue to you, it seems very large. So I don't want to minimize that an individual issue might be big to an individual customer. With that said, it's mostly things like a bus stop sign could be incorrect that we're fixing. We've had one route that had basically had to move it off a street. We just really had too much traffic on that street, and it was just too narrow for what we were trying to do. A couple other things like of that nature. I want to really thank our local partners, The local DOTs and partners have been fantastic. We had to make some adjustments and people quickly got on that. We did that literally within hours and a couple days. So really want to thank them. I want to make sure that everyone knows we are looking at every comment. So whether it's on Reddit, other social media channels, all of our call center activity, emails, they're all being looked at. Again, some of them are the same theme, and we're working on things. But I also want to emphasize that some of the comments related to Better Bus are actually not connected to Better Bus. They are just bus service. So we drop trips before Better Bus every day, not a lot, and we drop trips after Better Bus. We have sometimes attendance challenges, especially on Mondays and Fridays. We are working hard on that. It's kind of a national thing. It's quite frankly, every industry. So that doesn't mean that we're not running the frequency schedule for Better Bus. Sometimes there's just a trip doesn't happen. And that would have happened whether we did the cutover or not. Another thing is we've had very significant weather issues. Last night is a great example. So all service for probably an hour plus was a complete mess. It was a really, really, really scary and quite frankly, dangerous storm last night. That would have impacted bus service pretty heavily. The night before, I happened to be on a bus on M Street. There was a pretty significant police and motor vehicle issue, and M Street in Georgetown shut everything down for probably over an hour. It was complete gridlock. Those have nothing to do with Better Bus, but the buses couldn't move. So I just want to, we are looking at every single comment. Trust me, the team hears from me directly on all these comments. So I want to really congratulate our team on the macro. The team has done a fantastic job. And we are seeing a lot of comments too where people think Better Bus is working out better as well. Naturally, when they don't work out well, those are louder than the ones that are not. But we are taking those serious and we're trying to make them as best as possible. So I just want to put a highlight on Better Bus. On some slides I want to talk through, July 4th, this team hit it out of the park. I am just so proud and thankful for this team. We've had major events this year. As you all know, board, and maybe I do this to us even more so, the pressure on this organization to deliver for big events, both from our customers, from our region, from the politics and stakeholder, political capital side, are always big. We've had World Pride, Army 250th, and now July 4th, 3 very large, complex events where the eye of the region and sometimes the world is on us. And well, no question, yeah,
The
yeah.
biggest global event of all.
Yeah. And this team did, I will say, I was out with the team loading trains after the fireworks. We didn't have one service issue on rail the entire night. It was literally a flawless night. We moved more people than last year, helped with Beyonce, the Nats, but we really did a great job. And I just want to thank the team, how hard they've worked this year on national security events and big events. Everyone needs a few weeks to chill out at this place. It's been that type of time. So the next slide shows that not everyone's going to get to chill out because we started our construction summer. So literally the next day, we started summer construction work, which means we have a bus shuttle to run. We got to execute, and that's going generally really well. Obviously, ridership is down, and we only have a small section. So while this, again, is impactful for Franconia through King Street, for the last few years, this will be our least impactful construction outage. The team is doing a lot of good work, a lot of track renewal, getting rid of long-term maintenance challenges. We're doing a train control room over, interlockings, variety of work. This is all about safety, reliability work that we're doing out there. And now Teresa, as our Chief Infrastructure Officer, is out there managing her first summer of construction outage and doing a great job. After this, then we'll flow into the green line in August for that outage. So we thank our customers' patience, but this is critical work that we got to continue to get done. The next slide shows one of the things that every year is kind of a highlight. We take our interns out to the construction site. This is fantastic. This group is our infrastructure interns. So we've had, I think I heard earlier, well over 1,000 people apply to be interns here at Metro, and we ended up with just about 60. This is a group of people that, as the next generation, right? These are people, this group is a lot of engineering people, in their second, third year of, say, college, university and engineering. Some of them have been repeat multiple years back with us. This is a group of people we're actively trying to make sure that they see this as a future place they want to come and work. It's very competitive for mechanical, electrical, systems engineering, and we want to provide this great opportunity. And some of them have just so many ideas and are being creative and thinking through. You know, I talk to them. They've never lived a life that's not been digital. And so it's really helpful to pair, you know, a group of 20-year-olds that live their whole life on a phone and never been paper with some people that have been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. And you put that together, you can get a lot of creativity, both, you know, wisdom and new thought at the same time. And so this is just another example of us continuing to build our workforce. Lastly, I want to highlight a national recognition on our talented teams, which is really proud of our transit police was awarded APTA's Rail Security Gold Award at the rail conference in San Francisco a few weeks ago. And so Teresa was out there with two of our deputy chiefs to receive this award. And this highlights that our incredible efforts around public safety here at Metro, and basically recognition from all of our peers that we're leading the country you know, on our innovative approach to public safety. And I just want to congratulate all the people that are involved. It shouldn't go unnoticed that when crime is at a 7-year low, and I looked at the June data, we're currently on track to have the lowest Part 1 crime rate ever in the history of Metro. And that takes a lot of work, 24/7, 365 to make that happen. And Chief Gonzalo and his team, along with our ops team, is just doing a great job at that. So just wanted to take those highlights. Lots going on. I will say, board, I encourage everyone to take a little bit of R&R over the summer, but we look forward to having the board back in September. As I mentioned, we're having an October capital work session. We'll work on the fair piece that board member McAndrew mentioned. We have DMV moves, so there's tons queued up for the fall. It's not like we won't be going anything this summer, but there's so much to do here in the fall and into next year, and we just look forward to that. So happy to take any questions or comments the board may have, but that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any questions or comments for the GM? No. All right. Now we'll move on to the report from the Finance Committee. Mr. McAndrew.
Thank you, Chair. The following item was referred to the board at this morning's Finance and Capital Committee meeting. Staff sought approval to enter into a joint development agreement at the Landover Metro Station, Prince George's County, Maryland. Metro will sell approximately 2.17 acres of Metro-owned land adjacent to the station's parking lot. Combined with other nearby privately owned parcels, this will allow for the development of approximately 260 residential rental units at 60% area median income. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table by Mr. McAndrew. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Lowe. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the board corporate secretary to call the vote.
Alternate Director Worth.
Aye.
Vice Chair Smedberg.
Aye.
Vice Chair McAndrew.
Aye.
Director Klein.
Aye.
Director Lowe.
Aye.
Director Alcorn.
Aye.
Director Jarvis.
Aye.
Director Martin Proctor.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. We have one item on today's consent agenda. I'd like to move the following: an indemnification of Amtrak. Staff requests approval of a resolution to authorize the general manager or his designee to indemnify Amtrak as may be required in a temporary use permit to enter Amtrak property. This temporary use permit is required to allow Metro staff to inspect the aerial structure on the red line south of the Rhode Island Avenue Brentwood Station, which crosses over Metro property. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Jarvis. Any comment? Or there are no comments, so it's consent. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The item is approved. Now we'll move on to jurisdictional reports. District of Columbia, Dr. Lowe.
Nothing to report.
Okay. NVTC, I don't have anything. Walter? Yeah. WSTC, Mr. McAndrew.
Just a note, some folks might have seen it in the news yesterday, but Secretary Wiedefeld, former WMATA GM and CEO, is stepping down from his position effectively August 1st. He's been a great leader, partner, collaborator for many in this building, but also in the state of Maryland over many, many, many decades. And so we will miss his service. You know, he turned 70, I believe he's saying in August. He doesn't look like he's 70, but he's turning 70. And so he's going to step back. And we are, happy with the progress that we've made in the state in terms of building a strong bench and foundation to build from. And with the leadership of soon-to-be acting Secretary Samantha Biddle, we will carry on and keep producing for the state and for this region. So thank you to Secretary Wiedefeld, but the collective team's support.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. Federal Government, Ms. Klein.
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to Director Martin Proctor to start.
Thank you, Director Klein and team. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. And I know that you guys have been here for a minute, so I am going to make this brief. But I did want to say, as a person living with a disability, I've been living with multiple sclerosis since I was 16 years old. This month is extremely important to me as far as awareness and information sharing. So it is a great honor to be able to present this report on behalf of my federal government partners. So just to say, on behalf of Director April Rye, Dr. Bryna Helfer, myself, and Director Sarah Klein. And with the support of our administrator of the FTA, we are proud to join you in commemorating Disability Pride Month and honoring the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. This milestone signed on July 26, 1990. If you think about that, what was going on in 1990?
I don't remember.
Exactly. But we are a generation of the ADA, where there were actual laws in the books for individuals with disabilities to be able to have access to transportation, to education, and to not be discriminated against in that space. We step forward in this fight for civil rights for people with disabilities. The ADA highlights discrimination in all areas of public life, including employment, education, and critically for us, transportation. This law made it clear that transportation is not a privilege, it is a civil right. Disability in transportation, and particularly with this year's theme being We Belong Here and We're Here to Stay, reminds us that while progress has been made, the work for full inclusion continues. For generations, public transportation was inaccessible to people with disabilities. Prior to the 1970s, many were excluded from the basic right of mobility, isolated from the start with regards to inconsistent or unfundable services that began to change with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act in 1973, which required public entities to begin offering accessible services, including paratransit. Yet it wasn't until activists from ADAPT, the Americans Disabled American Public Transportation, and Reverend Wade Blake took to the streets and to the courts and fought for accessible public transportation that it became a national conversation. Their activism directly shaped the ADA's transportation mandate and movement. WMATA's accessibility journey. WMATA has taken this important steps across the decades to honor the spirit of the ADA. 1994, WMATA launched the ADA-compliant paratransit service, now known as Metro Access. In 2001, I don't think anybody knew this, 100% of Metro fleet buses became wheelchair accessible. 100%. They went all in to make sure that our Metro fleet was wheelchair accessible at 100%. And this was in 2001. Nobody was pushing for it. Nobody tried to sue them. They did it from the beginning to make sure that they were in the spirit of the ADA. Metro rail stations now also include elevators, tactile and braille signage, accessible restrooms, and audio announcements. Metro Access serves the entire region: DC, Montgomery County, Virginia, Alexandria, Fairfax, Falls Church, and its shared door-to-door service for those with disabilities is critical to this community. As of 2023, Metro Access fares have been capped at $4.50 per one-way trip. We can thank Director Klein and Dr. Helfer for really pushing that forward. I was kind of on the sidelines for that piece. We do thank you for that. She sat down and she went through the numbers. She said, we can do this. We can make this happen. And it was capped, and it was critical for the disability community, and thanking the board for also promoting and making sure that that moved forward with the community as well. So at $4.50 per ride, it allows individuals to be able to better budget, better plan, and to have flexibility with regards to their ability to use transportation. However, even with these changes, the cost of using Metro Access remains twice as much the amount of a faster comparable fixed road trips. We do still have our current challenges. As transportation challenges move, in July 2025, customer satisfaction was still around 75, 80% after transitioning from certain contractors. This impacted our call center and operations with regards to technology and platforms. However, riders have now reported significant improvement with regards to on-time performance and ongoing transportation and accommodations. Escalator replacements are moving forward. Elevators are on time with regards to moving that piece, but we must maintain and be vigilant with regards to the budget constraints that may lead to service cuts. We're making sure to work towards that, but we have to maintain vigilance. Wayfinding and the disability concerns around that are also being addressed. We are hearing and we are listening to you. And we want to thank our continued partnerships as we celebrate ADA Pride Month. Our partnership with the AAC, the RAC, AAPD, it's a lot of acronyms in DC, WID, AAPD, AARPD, the ARC, the DC Council on Persons with Disabilities. Together, we continue to push for equity, access, and dignity in public transportation. For more information on what we're doing here with regards to public transportation and accessibility, please visit us online at romana.com. Our eligibility site is open. Please also contact us by phone, and we look forward to seeing the future of accessibility. We have more signage, more lighting, and the push of this amazing board to make sure that we remain accessible and inclusive for everybody in the entire community. On behalf of the federal government, I'd like to say thank you. And I know that my federal board members also say thank you as well. And we can go to the last slide. And turn it back over to Board Member Klein.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to echo what Director Martin Proctor has said, because we don't have a meeting at the end of July, which is when the actual 35th anniversary of the ADA is. Transportation accessibility is a high priority for this administration as well as for the prior administration. Across the board, we want to make sure that all of our customers can access the affordable and reliable mobility that they need. Metro has committed in its strategic plan to service excellence for all of our customers on Metro Rail, Metro Bus, and Metro Access. And as Director Martin Proctor said, we are well aware of the challenges that Metro Access has been experiencing over the last few months. We want to make sure that our customers know that the board is aware of these challenges. We are monitoring closely, and we recognize and acknowledge that the team is working very hard to address these challenges, and we have seen some improvements in recent weeks. It is my hope and expectation that service excellence will return to Metro Access very soon, both in the rides that are provided to our customers, as well as in the call center services, which really in some way are the first responders when there is an issue with a Metro Access trip. I know the board is going on a summer recess, but I expect that we will receive an update in September on these issues that I hope will show a continued and consistent return to excellence in the Metro Access service. So wanted to make sure that we put that acknowledgement of our challenges and our strive for excellence on the record. And I thank you for indulging us.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Camila. Ms. Jarvis.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I wanted to take this opportunity to add to the WSTC report that Director McAndrew provided, specifically speaking for Montgomery County, since that is the area that I represent. And as a first-time member of the board, I wanted to make sure that my voice was heard. So representing Montgomery County, just an update here on July 1, Montgomery County Department of Transportation was awarded $250,000 in funding by the Maryland Department of Transportation's capital grant and revolving loan fund to support development at the North Bethesda Metro Rail Station site. The grant will fund community outreach efforts, facilitating public input for the project design in collaboration with the University of Maryland. WMATA selected Hines as the developer for the life sciences anchored mixed-use development in May, which will include a new north entrance to the station and infrastructure that supports the Flash Bus Rapid Transit system. MC-DOT is seeking applicants to join the MD 355 Flash Bus Rapid Transit Corridor Advisory Committee. Say that 10 times fast. The committee is comprised of residents, business owners, and other stakeholders along the 355 corridor between Bethesda and Clarksburg. Those interested in collaborating and providing community feedback on bus rapid transit in the county should contact MC-DOT. And so ends my report for Montgomery County. And I am, again, honored to be a part of this wonderful institution and representing Montgomery County on the board. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Jarvis. That's okay. With no further business, we're adjourned, and we'll see you all in September. Thank you.